Futures to the downside and oil to the upside to kick off this Monday morning. Of course, lots of geopolitical headlines over the weekend. We had this meeting in Pakistan with Iran and the U.S., and now it might apparently result in this blockade at the Strait of Hormuz and Iranian ports at 10 a.m. Eastern today. So big headline here. I mentioned, of course, oil strong. Here is oil to the upside. So again, geopolitics specifically as it relates to USO, that's going to remain on watch all day. Keep an eye as well on some of these antipathy plays for oil, like names in the travel space that do rely on oil and jet fuel. I also want to mention here, it's not just oil headlines today. We have a lot of tech-related headlines. Palantir is going to remain in focus. Some Tesla news, too. Good morning. How are you doing today, Sharif?
Good, Adara. Thank you. It was a good weekend. Yeah, as you mentioned there, Tesla is certainly in focus with FSD possibly getting the nod. In Europe, a lot's been made about them only having autopilot, not really getting the full gauntlet of the FSD options. FSD 14.3 in focus. Also, Apple apparently interested in making AI-powered smart glasses. Apparently, there's a bunch of different versions of these smart glasses being developed internally. We'll have to see how that goes. And we can't forget about the China tariffs, Adara, possibly 50% China tariffs if they continue or they sell weapons to Iran.
Yeah, it's certainly a lot in focus. I'm sure we're going to get more headlines throughout the day as we've had over the last couple of days and weeks now. But what are you guys looking at right now, Neil and Sean?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
You got to look at oil. You got to look at Goldman. We're not off to the best start. Like what you didn't want to happen would have been, beat. Big numbers for Goldman Sachs, and they're down anyways. So down 3.5% there, and then we got oil up 7.5%. So that does neither one of those things is going to bode terribly well for us to start the week. That said, in 2 hours, we'll see if we get this blockade or not. And I wouldn't be surprised if we got some kind of a message or some kind of a response, maybe that could turn the sentiment around. But we'll see. You got to keep your ear to the ground. It is what it is. You can't anticipate these types of things. We'll react to any post that does come. But for now, it's kind of a rough start for the market. Don't forget, though, there was good news on Friday for Palantir because that one post shot that one back to the upside, and it's still holding those gains. The president likes it, so maybe we'll still see some strength in that one regardless.
It was still down though on Friday, wasn't it? I think.
Well, we got it came right into like a one level where obviously someone was really interested in taking profit at $129 because it just kept going 129, it would stop, 129, it would stop. It was almost exactly there. But it's over that level, so as long as it's over that seller, I like it for some longs. So yeah, it means a lot to look at, but as usual, we're going to be keeping our ear to the ground. Headline-driven market. Something's never changed.
Yeah, we had Rory there win the Masters, which is good. I was able to. Yeah, I had Scheffler winning without Rory, so he came in second. So that was a good one. So we cashed in on that bet. There was a pretty good weekend. The Jays, I guess, lost yesterday. But did we go 2 and 3?
Oh, goodness.
1 and 2, I think.
Well,
it was Minnesota. Did we win both? Can't remember.
They got destroyed.
Yesterday we got killed.
It was actually a relatively close game on Saturday. I won't lie.
Saturday?
We were at the game on Saturday. And despite the loss, I had like one of the happiest moments at a game.
Oh, good.
Because there was I think third base coach threw a ball into the stands, and then someone behind us like completely duffed it.
Yeah.
And it bounces, and then a guy in front of us duffs it, and it falls at my wife's feet.
Right.
So she just picks up the ball, of course.
And your daughter
hands it to Aaron, and then Aaron
gives it to somebody.
Aaron saw there was a boy in our row. It was his first game. He's probably a couple years, maybe 6 or 7 years old. First game ever. Hands him the ball, so he's all happy. The mom's practically crying. 2 innings later, another ball comes in the stands behind us. The guy behind us catches it, turns and hands it there and says, "Because you gave it to the boy." And it was such a sweet thing. And I'm like, you know what? Nice. You don't do it because you're trying to get rewarded, but you do the right thing because it's the right thing. Always give it to the kid, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. No one ever keep a ball like that. That's great. That's great that you guys were there and able to enjoy the game. Here's Marvell 133. I mean, this stock, there's no stopping this one at all. We have now officially broken through everything, and I have an order to get out some this morning, so that will. We'll fill that out. There's Marvell right here. This is its past peak, one back in February of 25 of 127 or so. Yeah, we're going to be up to 133 and change right now here, just busting through. So yeah, it's good to see Marvell to the upside. Nice to see Palantir going as well. And then we have, of course, the blockade. So I have an offer for 20% of my holdings out on Marvell here this morning. So hopefully that won't continue to make a move down, and we can get back up here into 133, and we'll be able to get filled on that one. So that's going to be a good little take there. But yeah, no Brendo today. It's Adara and Sharif over there at the desk. I want to thank Joe for filling in on Friday. Hope that was a good day there. I don't think the market was pretty good, but it was a little slow, right? I was just heading into the weekend there. But today should be busy, man. The Qs right now, the NASDAQ down 0.73. We're having a problem with our futures ticker feed this morning. So I'm just going to be watching the Qs and the SPY 0.7. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens at 10 a.m. I mean, I don't know why we're expecting anything different than what's already been happening. I mean, it's 10 a.m. is when the blockade, I guess, starts. I don't even know how you could give a time to it. I mean, I guess it's already sort of there now.
There's already nothing going through. So
yeah, so I don't know how that's going to react. But there's oil with a straight shot up to $104. We'll see if that can keep momentum long today. Oops. Well, we just did have our oil ticker up here. Now I don't know where it went. So we'll get that back very, very soon. But for right now, yeah, we have...
Is it NYMEX too?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was just up there a couple seconds ago. I don't know where it went. But right now, we have oil upside. We can check out USO as well. I'm going to be having a problem with some of the quotes here this morning. But there's USO 100. Yeah, see? 124. There it is. Okay. $134 right now for USO. So, yeah, we'll watch US dollar. Got a couple names on our mind. We mentioned Palantir there. Nice uptick. Got Marvell there today. You know, Meta, everything moving around. So it should be a good one. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't made the, I haven't, you know, created the sticky note quite yet, but it's coming up. So, all right, let's go back over to Neil.
Also, everybody, if you're an equity trader in today's markets looking to scale, Prop Shop Trader is a multi-asset prop trading firm designed to remove the typical barriers that traders face. You can trade stocks without pattern day trading restrictions and no licensing requirements, while also accessing futures markets within the same environment. Prop Shop Trader offers both day trading and swing trading programs, giving traders the flexibility to manage multiple accounts and deploy different strategies. Why risk your own capital when you don't have to? Scan the QR code to unlock 60% off your first account, plus buy one, get one free, and get started today. And hopefully it will be a good day, but you can't really know. He's always
it's not a great day for the banks already. Goldman Sachs.
No, stupid Goldman.
Yeah, they're down 4% right here. So yeah, posted revenue $17 billion, $17.55 a share, beating $16.55 a share. So they're up $1 on the EPS. Their banking fees came in good as well. Net income, interest higher, $3.56 billion. I don't really know what the problem was. It says it's fixed income, currency, and commodities results fell short of expectations. So there goes Goldman Sachs off a nice rebound right there. Not the greatest start for some of the banking names that we were hoping for to start the week. I mean, it's now back into earnings season. Right here, Q1 going to be reported and kicking out. There goes JP Morgan to the downside. All the banks probably, I haven't looked at them all, but all starting to head southbound, I would assume, here with that nasty report from Goldman Sachs. And it wasn't that bad. It's just down 4% isn't great. I mean, you don't like to see these kind of moves here for the banks. So, yeah, Goldman Sachs right here is kicking off the first of the big earnings that's coming through here. Goldman Sachs today down 4%.
It's dragging down that XLF with it because things were looking pretty good for the group. Not so much anymore. See, you were just finally maybe breaking out as they were under the 50 period. Well, they're just the first. We get the swath of them. We get the swath of them tomorrow as well. So we'll have plenty more. But I feel like when Goldman, this is what happened last cycle as well. Like if Goldman gets hit initially, they almost all get hit initially. But we have seen in the past, at least most recently, almost all, like Morgan Stanley did it as well, where you'll have that initial move down. You got the calls going to be at 9:30, I believe, and you'll get that potential bounce back. Oftentimes, you'll see the banks and they'll just sort of trade down on earnings, and then by the time you look back at them at 9:45, 10 o'clock, it's like all systems go and we're like $900. So I wouldn't be too surprised if they caught a bid, but you got to wait for that conference call at 9:30. That'll be an important one. And JKL, just in time for the super chat. Like absolute clockwork. Throw it up there, Andre. Let's see what we got here from our good friend JKL. Leg day report. Hey, get those squats in. Still adding to SILJ, that's silver miners on dips. Swing trade for the month, holding off on shorter term trades with Trump tweets all over protecting capital. Yeah, so protect that capital, but you still like that SILJ. I know we had a bit of a, I mean, obviously you have a bit of a pullback today in the metal market, in the metals, and that's with the overall market as well. But you know, you're still holding a bit of an uptrend in SILJ there. SLV probably the similar chart as well. Off the bottoms, but just slowly grinding higher. See if it can put in another higher low after a bit of a dip today. So yes, stick to your guns. That's what it's all about. But you know, you're dead right to say that we're one Trump truth away, and who knows. But we'll be locked and loaded and ready to go. I haven't seen Sharif, I haven't seen anything pop off in small cap land that's really caught my attention. Anything got your eye?
Check the scanners here, Neil. Number one gapper here from what I see is RMSG. At least, yeah, it's closing in on that dollar. This is not too bad. Almost up 109%. Bunch of topping tail candles through that dollar. It looks like it's trying to make the move there above a buck. Definitely will be keeping an eye on this one, Adair, if it holds above VWAP during the midday.
Yeah, that one actually is a 47% short float as well, so nothing to scoff at. I want to talk about another name here before we move on to talking about oil headlines in a little bit more detail. I saw a lot of people in the chat mention this Revolution Medicine, so I wanted to touch on this. RVMD, this is up about 40% right now. This name might be familiar to you because back in January, Merck was reportedly in talks with the company for a buyout, and then those talks fell through. Revolution Medicines announced some results for its phase 3 study of a clinical trial evaluating a drug called daraxonrasib. There's additional, I guess, data here as well. So RVMD with positive trial results, good look for this one. Let's talk though a little bit more about USO. We're going to mention this again on the rundown, but I do think this bears repeating because, Sharif, at 10 a.m., we could have a bit of an update here with this blockade.
It's going to be big, Adira, if it goes through. They announced a naval blockade of all Iranian ports, obviously here to put pressure on the income-generating parts of their economy. The move follows failed peace talks between the U.S. and Iran, which were brokered by Pakistan's Sharif over the weekend. The U.S. is targeting, though, all their maritime traffic into and out of the all Iranian ports, with enforcement to begin immediately after the 10 a.m. deadline. Tanker traffic has collapsed essentially from about 100 vessels per day down to a trickle, a few here and there. We must note, though, that the vessel traffic that's being tracked does not include the shadow fleet, which operates heavily with a Russian twist. President Donald Trump, Adair, said he's considering further military action, including renewed strikes. So we'll have to see how this all works out.
What are your guys' thoughts here? Now, we mentioned oil a little bit, but any other oil plays you could look at as well here with this headline in focus?
Well,
Go ahead,
yeah, there's always plays that you can look at. I just feel like what we've had in most of the pre-markets, whether we've gapped up, down, left, right, center, whatever it is, you have a look at USO, and more or less, whatever we're doing early, we tend to have like these solid like reversals of it. It's just a matter of, it's really just a matter of when. Like here, sharp reversal, an uptrend. This one, there's a couple of days where we just kind of maintained or didn't really do anything, but then slight uptrend, break, and then go down. We were trending down on Wednesday, I believe it was, and then broke out. We were trending up in the pre-market here and then fell. Here we have just a complete inside sideways day. I feel like you're either waiting for a headline or just waiting for some move to revert, in my opinion. Because otherwise, you just get caught in this little bit of a malaise. Individual names are a different story, I do think. And example of that would be Oxy here. You'll have some levels to work off of with some of these, and then you'll throw in the fact. From the highs, Oxy put in its first low. It's not going to be all the way down at the earnings 50 support or at the 50 period. So I'd say it's not the biggest level in the world, but it's a good bounce play. Wipe out bottom last week, hold some higher lows at that 58 level. Like that seems like it could be a dip and rip. And you maybe want to have if you're looking at the energy names, have a look at some energy names that will give you that chance to show a little bit of extra strength. Fundamentally, again, they had a good report last month, so it does put them in a pretty solid spot. And then the other way that I'll always look at this, anytime we're gapped up, like the first thing I'm thinking about was, well, that battle stock, the small cappers, that came all the way back 100% retracement from the start of the conflict. So if it's gapped up today, like my first thought is it just a simple doesn't break the high, short it for the rest of the day kind of move? But the thing we should also do is say hi to Randy.
Oh, hey.
Make sure we get our
banana. Okay.
Randy needs
Thanks.
He's gonna get that buzz cut going again.
Oh, he's got to get that going on again. All right, I'm just trying to fix my chart over here. We didn't have a great situation here with some of these dark pool prints, but yeah, no, I was looking at USO as well here. I was just trying to fix this little. When you have some of these bad prints, you got to get in there and fix them, but I'll do that in a second. Yeah, no, oil, so yeah, here we go, man, up another 7% today. Just looking at USO, there's the gap through. So you're kind of just looking here. The last time we were up here, we stopped around 137, got that drop back on the ceasefire news back into 120 and change, and then just started to bounce around and now gapping back through this 134. Obviously, we got a little lower on the ceasefire. This was the low from last week. And then 137 and change is what you're looking at now for USO. I think we just go long today. I don't, this whole 10 o'clock thing, like that's an hour and a half. I don't know why exactly there is a time on this Strait of Hormuz blockage, but I believe it is going to happen, and I don't see how oil falls back in on anything here today. So all we want to do is really pick up this stock on weakness, or this ETF here, and or trading oil, and or any of the names that we're going to see today. I think it's a continued move higher today for oil. I mean, you can look over here at gold. We've had a sort of a, I mean, it's hard to pick a price because I don't know exactly where VWAP's going to be. I don't know if you want to trade it immediately, wait for it to move around. Gold down 1% here today. Silver also down a little bit. And we had up here, I want to say thanks to Joe. Joe, my whole layout is completely great right now. He thinks I was talking sarcastically this morning, but you know, we had some login issues there on Friday, and it was absolutely great. I was nervous coming in. There could be a problem. Obi always screws it up, but of course Joe doesn't. All right, so here we go. There's the move higher in the dollar. So we're just hovering around 99 right now on the DXY. So we'll have to wait to see if there's any sort of movement around the dollar today. A little bit of a kickback, trying to bounce off the 200 period moving average. So just a little bit of a look here at the US dollar. We'll see if we can wind up holding in and around this 98.40 mark here. But as far as macro is concerned, I think a lot of us are worried. Obviously, we had some jobless claims numbers come through last week, and then silver down 3% actually, much more than gold. So on a weaker dollar, let's see what happens here with silver today. Maybe if the US dollar can get going, silver will, you know, retrace back into the downside. So we'll have to look at that relationship there. But yeah, I really like oil. XOM, you know, we just had Randy over here. That's been a big equity to look out for as well. So that could be some sort of a trade here today. We have those imbalances. Let's have a quick look to see if there's anything on oil here. USFO, SCO, well, we know about that. Nothing there. Nokia, what the hell? That's still $10. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything yet. Nothing on the big side of things, but this is XOM. I don't know why we clicked on Nokia there. 155.50, so up another 2%. And look what they're doing too, bouncing off your 50-period moving average. We almost got into a good level to buy some XOM down there, 145 and change. So maybe something to look at over there on the oil front. But yeah, it's 8:18. We should have. I didn't check.
Believe it or
We
not,
should have Michael Noss today.
you just mentioned Nokia. I think for the first time in about a bajillion years, Nokia is actually on our watch list today.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got an upgrade from Bank of America.
Oh, wow.
It's only up, like they're only up a point, but they did catch an upgrade, and basically with strong demand for AI data center buildouts. And don't look now. It isn't even a bad looking chart either. Like Nokia's been on a pretty solid uptrend for a while. Like it just made fresh top on Friday. All right, well, the candle doesn't look very good because that's actually a rejection of the high at 970 in a pullback. But the daily chart looks a heck of a lot better. I don't think I'll be that interested in trading Nokia. They get the upgrade, but that doesn't look, it looks like a reversal candle more than anything else on the daily chart. But lo and behold, it's actually on there. You just don't see that very often. Just heard Netflix is making a small move. Not really sure why. That's 50, 60 cents. Maybe a little something happening here with Netflix. Remember, Netflix was strong last week and bouncing, still not hearing any news, and bouncing all week.
Nice.
Higher lows, more higher lows. I think Netflix is potentially headed to, I think it was 118 was the level. Come on, Okay, signal.
Wow, that's a huge move back up.
It's a pretty good move here.
Great move, yeah.
So I'm thinking we get to this 50 period at some point. Oh, sorry, 109, 108, 109. That's a 50 period there on the weekly. I think you got some room to get there. Not really sure if there was even a story here that caused this, we'll call it minute pop, but it's up 1%. The market's down and Netflix is up. And it's been a fairly decent, like, safety-ish trade where we can have red days and then Netflix will be absolutely fine. I might want to add this one to the list on some relative strength, especially if we end up having a catalyst here that's causing this. Like, it's got 102.5 is a good level. This wick top 103 or 102.70 is legitimate. So yeah, it's got some good dip support underneath it as well. So yeah, Netflix gonna be on the radars now. Let's go over and talk a little options with Joe.
All right, guys, what's going on? I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. Let's take a look at some of the options activity from Friday's session. Of course, we have to kick things off with Palantir. We should have put it in brackets there just due to the fact that Mr. Donald Trump himself decided to truth out the name. With that being said, of course, you're going to see an increase in options activity, implied volatility, and also we're going to see a lot more going on with that. So with that being said, guys, open interest, just overall activity sitting around 12,200 there, and volume also around 44,900. That's going to be on this Friday's expiration cycle. One thing that I wanted to know is that the appreciation within these contracts decides to climb and then comes in a little bit, but when something that's expiring relatively so close and you see that spike, that's obviously due to some form of catalyst. Now, once again, we're sitting on a $2 spread. That's not bad at all here for Palantir, considering there's a lot of volume. It was about 4th on the overall volume list on Friday's session, so that's substantial. You have the SPY, then you have the Qs, NVDA, and then Palantir sitting in that 4th spot. Now, as for the delta, guys, we are still slightly out of the money. That's why our delta exposure isn't going to be that high, 0.26. For every $1 change in the underlying asset, you're going to see a $26 change in the contract. But we do have an uptick in implied volatility, obviously due to the catalyst. You have that initial spike and then some continuation after. All right, now moving on to the next contract, we are going to take a look at Tesla. Tesla's contract not looking too good. The one that is expiring this Friday, guys, we're going to be looking at that $370 strike price. Open interest with 13,200 and volume around 8,160. Now, this is going to be the most amount of open interest on this expiration cycle. Once again, we're at that $370 mark. One thing before we go on to our Greeks and take a look at the bid in the ask, one thing that I want us to focus on is that at some point this contract was worth $7,600, or in options terms, $7,600, and now it's only worth a couple of dollars, not worth very much at all, $1.40. So you can see that it has a 98 depreciation in price from February. So that's not good, and obviously just due to time, that contract will never regain any of that sort of value. You can still see some returns, but nothing substantial. The market also looking relatively weak this morning. Now let's look into some of our Greeks here. We're going to be sitting at that delta. Considering out of the money, not too much exposure, 15 delta there. Gamma, and then your at the money IB sitting at 39.4%. All right, moving on to the next contract, we are going to look at multiple down the line, and we're going to kick things off with Micron continuing to climb higher here, guys. Open interest at that $415 mark. All of them are going to be expiring this Friday. Open interest 14,000, volume 2,840, contracts opening and closed on Friday session, and once again expiring this Friday. This name is not far off of the all-time highs, only a couple percentage points now, so maybe we can continue on that trajectory. Now, as for advanced micro devices, the chips were strong on Friday, NVDA as well, open interest sitting around 18,000, volume 17,400, with that, at that $250 strike price. Apple also on the list, $270 strike price. This is going to be the most amount of open interest and volume at that specific level. We will be back momentarily, but for now, let's go see what Neil and Sean are up to.
You said the chips were strong on Friday. AMD was a rocket off the open. absolute rocket ship, like straight away, right into 250 and rejection of 250. So it was Friday, the expectation of getting past a number like that. Obviously, Joe was just talking about the 270, but you're going to have to chew through 250 first. The accumulation that was done at that $200 and the 200 period moving average, bit of a coincidence, has resulted in trying to fill this gap in. So it's in the middle of, it's almost in the middle of nowhere. I think this week anchoring off the 250 level is going to make some sense. We've seen it have this kind of strength before, kind of catch a bit of a top, like caught a 225 top, wasn't able to do anything. And then when it gapped over, that turned into support. So for now, I think you're seeing a bit of a rejection of that 250, and it'll be a look short under, and maybe we see a similar thing, where once we can climb over, you can bounce off that and look for longs. But until proven otherwise, kind of ran into a temporary roadblock, let's say, at that round number, and looking to head a little bit in the other direction here for advanced micro devices. It wasn't the only chip name that was strong, but obviously it stood out at that number.
Yeah, the one thing that I talked a little bit about these guys off the open. I do have a order to get out here as Marvell's broken out. So Marvell is now, I mean, it broke out a long time ago, but this is now getting to be well extended here one more time. And this is like, remember, it was funny because last week you had a little bit of a dip buy opportunity because they got passed over by the S&P 500, but you can see Marvell doesn't really care too much about that. Breaking now out through this 128 level, that was the past high, 128.50. Now this morning you get up and you wake up and you see another 3% added to this name. Not really any movement here off the news source, but nice little kick there higher for Marvell ASICs, custom ASICs, starting to work out. And like I was saying, I have an offer to get out at 20% of this trade. It's a big one for me, so we're going to see if we can get out of some Marvell there in our TFSA account. Don't want to pay any taxes on this kind of a win, so that'd be a good one. Good account to have it in. Marvell upside, we still have some in our long term, so we're going to keep that. But just to let you guys know, Marvell up to 133. I think you got to ring the register a little bit here if you've been tailing on Marvell. And then I think the next name, like Marvell's already gone, and I know that, I've always sort of equated Marvell as the little brother of Broadcom. It seems it might be the other way around right now, not market cap wise, but performance wise. So I think Broadcom is potentially ready to break out as well as Marvell. So there's the break on Broadcom through 355, starting to get going now, 367. You want to play momentum. You want to buy strong stocks, not weak stocks. We're lucky enough to have a strong opinion on Marvell, so when it was getting beat up, we layered into it. We believed in that name, and then it popped. And I'm just feeling kind of the same ways now about Marvell and NVIDIA and all these kind of names that are down there. AMD is just such a roller coaster, but I would invest in Broadcom and NVIDIA right now, thinking that they're kind of might be the next names to pop up. Obviously, Meta as well broke through that $600 mark last week, and that one, obviously there's still a lot of damage been done here to Meta, but this could be another name that continues to sort of try to ascend back into its 200 period moving average, which would be kind of cool. 680 break, it's a nice little level there. But today with the Nasdaq being down, how much is it down here? 0.2%. I don't know, it's going to have a little bit of work to do to get back going to some of these bigger beta names here, like a Meta and like an NVIDIA and Microsoft. I mean, we saw that last week that IGV just continued to get pumped. So Microsoft downside, Palantir was downside on that, CRM, Adobe. But yeah, Microsoft, wow. There's going to be, you look back at Amazon is up 20% in a week and a half or so. When's Microsoft's turn, right? I think we had a good turn here with Google as well in the last little while. This was down to 280 at one point. It got up to 320 or so last week. Now it's coming back a little bit, but wow, what a gift that might have been down there. And you see when stocks get to levels where they appear to be overbought, I mean, you can look at RSI, we're gonna have Michael on in a second. So I mean, looking at overbought and undersold or oversold conditions, our stocks now getting to be potentially overbought. Just a nice little move higher, potentially coming back in a little bit. But at least now the good thing is these bottoms, I don't know if they're going to be the bottom, but now you have something to sort of play off of on a lot of these names, right? We've had a nice move back, so a little bit of a pullback in might get you long in some names that can work when there's positive news flow. I think that's really what you're trying to look for, is names that have worked in bad tapes, right? I mean, if right now, if the NASDAQ is going to continue to make these moves lower, we know where Google can potentially land. And then when, if and when resolve happens, then we can get back into these names like Amazon, right? They were one story that was hit in Bahrain there. A lot of their data centers were getting hit, and we had some downside pressures for Amazon. And then it took, 3 days for that to go from like $200 to get up to that 215 and then blast through. So yeah, lots of pressure on Amazon, but it looks like it's trying to go higher as well here. So yeah, let's go back over. It's now 8:30, so we're just in time here to get Michael Noss with the big desk with Adara and Sharif.
We're going to talk Michael Noss really quickly, though. I want to touch on another story before we head over to Michael. Apple trying to compete with Meta with some more glasses offerings, reportedly.
Yeah, interesting look here, Adair. We'll have to see what the real story is. Obviously, Apple's super cagey about their upcoming product mix, but, things leak here and there. Apple apparently is actively developing 4 different AI-powered smart glasses design. They range from Wayfarer-style rectangular frames to smaller oval or circular options. The product is internally named N50. The target launch date is later this year, early next year. And they're aiming to kind of deeply integrate the glasses with the iPhone ecosystem. Nothing we really wouldn't have suspected there. The focus, though, unlike Meta, is going to be more on a premium build quality. They're using acetate materials instead of regular standard plastic. And the camera systems, apparently, Adara, could be vertically oriented in the oval lenses with surrounding lights. That's kind of a little bit different from the current circular camera setup that Meta has. But again, all speculative. We don't really know.
It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. In the meantime, we're going to bring in here Mr. Michael Noss. Thank you so much for being here with us this Monday morning. How are you doing today, Michael?
Fantastic. We survived another weekend. We never know, but everything's looking good.
Indeed, we did. And I know today you want to talk about an asset that we haven't discussed too much as of late, specifically Bitcoin, but overall the crypto space in general. So why don't you run through what your thoughts are on this Bitcoin chart to start?
Yeah, absolutely. And this seems to be the pattern on crypto. I remember when we were selling off, I think I came in and I gave a presentation about how crypto doesn't V-bounce in the way that we see with stocks and the way that we see with everything else. If you go back in history and back on the chart, then you can see that Bitcoin does just this. It makes very violent and fast moves, and it does nothing until everyone forgets about it and everyone starts talking about it. And then maybe it's going to start to perk up a bit. So main thing I just want to focus on this chart is how it had that huge fall all year. We're talking, like 120 almost down to 60. So it got cut in half. And then ever since then, there's actually been a fair amount of strength. We haven't gone up, but we haven't really gone down. We haven't broken those lows since then. If we contrast this to the next chart, which is the S&P 500, that has been kind of bleeding. Oh, up a couple there, but there we go. That's been bleeding there pretty much the entire year, just slow kind of downtick. So if you think the Bitcoin market or the crypto market has gone sideways, at the same time the crypto or the equity market has gone down, that is kind of the definition of relative strength. It's holding up, and it might just be holding up because people are completely disinterested in it right now, but that's fine. Every time, at least in the past, everyone's kind of forgot about crypto, they don't care anymore. All of a sudden it starts, breaking out of bases and making new highs and then surging higher. So if that's going to be the case, I'm going to go back to my crypto system. So this next chart is just an equity curve that I have for a couple systems that I run in the cryptocurrency space. They are flat this year. Every kind of vertical gray line is a different year. You can see nothing really happened. But if you look at this chart, you can see kind of the same characteristics I was talking about in crypto, where there may be months to year periods of time where these strategies just kind of mill about and break even, maybe lose a little bit of money, and then out of the blue, catch a couple winners and you have these big spikes higher. So I've noticed that my trading and my equity within crypto mirrors what we see in the cryptocurrency space, which is a whole long period of time of nothing that we're getting right now, and then some pushes higher. So if I'm right and we're going to get a breakout in the near future in crypto, I thought I would bring 3 ideas from these systems to you guys, right? Things that I've back tested. Usually I like to go back 30 years, but crypto hasn't existed that long. So these are roughly 10 years of data, give or take. And just full disclosure, I have no idea what any of these coins do. And, you know, with all the jokes we were making in the last crypto bull market with, you know, fart coin and sheep on hat and all this kind of stuff, I don't think you need to know what they do. You just need to have a plan, an entry, a stop loss, that kind of thing to go through. So the first one here is AAVE. This is actually, I looked on CoinMarketCap, one of the bigger coins out there. So this isn't kind of a fly-by-night coin, but if you look at this from its highs last year, was like $360, $400, all the way down to sub $100. And the simple idea behind this strategy is we are looking for this bottom indicator, which is a MACD, to do a simple divergence, which means that price has made a lower low, but the momentum to make this lower low hasn't been that strong. So we're starting to see maybe some exhaustions of seller in this particular name. Ave, I think is how you pronounce it. So the simple trade here is if we get back above $100, that's when we're going to get involved on this one. If we break back under 90 after that, it's time to go. So, you know, you're talking 10% risk, and on any kind of crypto, especially like an altcoin like this, that's a really acceptable risk, considering if we do catch anywhere near a short-term bottom, there could be some good momentum there. This next one here is newer. Again, don't know what these ones are. Just listed on Kraken at the end of last year, and Kraken's like a major cryptocurrency exchange, and that's River. So River USD, and you can see this $8 to $10 has been a huge level going back all the way since it got listed on this exchange. We continue to bounce off there. The game plan on this one, again, is above 10, we're interested, and then below 8, it's time to go. Again, just trying to catch short-term bounces and see if we can get something to stick. And if we're wrong, we take little haircuts. If we're right, hopefully we can get a pretty decent move out of some of these names. Last but not least, this is actually one that's been going up over the last couple of days, and this is just comp. So it's compound USD. Huge level here at $22. So that's what we're looking for. If we can get above 22, we're interested there. Stop around 17 or so. And you can see all of these charts are under pressure. All of them have got cut in half or more. And I'm not saying that, hey, the bottom's in, we're going to rip to new highs, but just kind of give you guys an idea about how I'm looking to play this, is that just taking small shots whenever I can take small shots, knowing that most of the time I'll be wrong, and I'll take a little bit of hits, and I'll have that equity curve that I showed you guys earlier, which is just flat to a little bit down. Every now and then I'll get lucky, hit one out of the park, and hopefully that makes up for all the losers and some.
So a couple questions here. If we go back to that equity curve that you just mentioned here, and as you mentioned, just kind of being able to be flat when Bitcoin isn't really doing too much. With that in mind, and given that there are, as you mentioned, these stagnant periods for Bitcoin, how would you recommend traders handle these situations if they're either trying to get involved? Like, would you recommend kind of waiting for a certain point in the cycle, or would you recommend kind of holding through these periods where it's not really sure? I guess some of your thoughts on how to approach Bitcoin knowing that this cycle is the case.
Yeah, the problem with holding through these periods, even though you're not losing any money right now in Bitcoin, say you got anywhere near the low end of this base and you've just been flat for a long period of time, there's an opportunity cost there. And that's why everything I like to do has some sort of shot clock or time stop associated with it. So the idea is that I don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin. Bitcoin could stay here for another 2 years. And then imagine the opportunity that you've missed, having your capital tied up in this asset that's just not doing anything. It's not even like, an equity that's going to pay you some sort of dividend or something while you're waiting. It's just not going to do anything for a long period of time. So with all of these trades, and with pretty much every trade I make, and I think it's really pertinent for the crypto space, is you just give yourself a time frame, right? If you like Bitcoin here, you not only buy it and set out a stop loss, but then you buy it and set out a stop loss and say, hey, I'm going to, in a month's time, 3 months' time, whatever you decide, if price is still here, I'm out. And then I will wait for some sort of a trigger. So for everything I do, I highly recommend, from day trading to investing, just some sort of time frame to give yourself, because tied up money to me is worse than losing money, because you're just sitting there just waiting to get your capital back for another trade.
Yeah, wise words, Michael. Is there anywhere that people can find you on social media, online, or otherwise?
Yeah, I'm just Michael Noss, CMT, everywhere you go. So you'll be able to find me there.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much again to Michael Noss, CMT, for being here with us this Monday and every Monday and Friday, right at this time, 8:30 a.m. Great to see you. Best of luck today and this week.
Thanks very much. Have a great weekend, or great week.
hold on, my friend. All right. Don't go to upgrades, downgrades, my brother. Yeah. Yeah.
Yo. There it is. Now you get the behind the scenes action there, and you see it. So we'll get that all popped off here with the upgrades and downgrades. But thanks, Michael. I mean, yeah, Neil's in there eating the sausage and actually scrambled eggs. Is it turkey sausage? Is it turkey sausage today? Yeah. Yeah, no, look, interesting that Michael talks there about the crypto space, and I think it's important to know that he had the declaration there that most of the coins he's going to talk about, he has no idea about what these coins actually do. And I think that that's important to note that, right? If you are looking for some cryptocurrency names that potentially have, base case to them, then, you want to look at Ethereum. And we just heard today, BM&R updated again their holdings in Ethereum. So they're still in there buying up some ETH. And I like the idea of Bitcoin only. But if there is this big cycle happening, I think it's like high tides lifts all ships. So I think if Bitcoin continues its ascend, which right now it's 71,000, hopefully we can continue higher right here. I do have iBit written down as a short just because the way the market's been acting this morning. But I like Bitcoin, and I did step in a little bit there. We talked about that at 66. It seems like that was months and months ago now. But if Bitcoin hangs around 70,000, maybe we're finally finding a little bit of a base there. So I don't know. I'm somewhat bullish on these levels.
I can already see one of the downgrades.
I see the Nike symbol there.
It's a short till it ain't. We're short on Friday, probably going to be short again at some point today. You can already see the upgrades and downgrades. Let's go to Joe.
Joe's ready to go.
These guys like this one. Sharif asking me about the Nike symbol, guys. All right, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades and start off with Nike down about 0.8% here, but getting a downgrade going from a buy to a hold and a price target reduction from $90 to $48 by HSBC. Second on the list here, we have Best Buy down almost 4% here this morning. Going from a buy to a sell, guys, $76 was the initial price target, getting lower to $59 by Goldman Sachs. And then we have Nebius as well, Freedom Capital giving them the downgrade. You're down 3% here this morning, and you are going from a buy to a hold. HPE also getting the downgrade, guys. Raymond James reducing that price target from $30 to $29, also going from a buy to a hold. Moving forward, take a look at some of the market upgrades. Now we're going to kick things off with Bilibili. We're up 1.4% here this morning. Price target increase from $25 to $31 by Morgan Stanley. And then also Ryan Ayer getting the nod, guys, by Bernstein. You're down 0.5%, but going from a market perform to an outperform. Tempest AI also on the list, guys. $70 to $65 is going to be that upgrade. Also going from a hold to a buy rating by TD Securities. And then Starbucks also on the list, guys. You're up 0.33% here this morning. $86 to $92. Also an increase from underperform to outperform here with Starbucks, guys.
Well, spoiler alert. Nike's not doing too well.
No, keeps on getting lower, huh?
I mean, Friday was an example of, we always talk about close prices mattering more than open prices, and sort of like how the market ends or how a stock ends or whatever, how it finishes and where the money is comfortable being overnight or over the weekend can be a better indicator. Well, on Thursday, you basically closed at 44. And then it was like I don't know if it'll be this kind of a trade today. That would be pretty nice. It popped right into the prior close, immediately failed it, put in a lower high, and then gave a VWAP retracement. Like that's as clear as false break, can't get green, lower high, short VWAP, and then short VWAP again. And that was all. And that was it. If it follows a similar pattern, in my opinion, like above 43, like the morning low, I think you're in trouble and you're reversing and all that stuff if you're short. But you've got the prior close up here at like 42.6. So you got that level, and then you got 43 for another look for a bit of a pop and fade, just to see if it trends. We have stocks that are trending upside and look fantastic. Oddly enough, Nokia, you can add to that list. We were talking about this last week. You want to have things like that in your portfolio that are working even when things are going sideways. But Nike's the opposite right now. And until it makes some kind of a a turn or some kind of a distinctive bottom, it's just a short. I play the pattern here. I think eventually at some point they're going to make some kind of a turnaround, but they'll probably need to get cheaper relative to peers, which we said last week. For now, still a short.
I like the Nebius call here. Nebius, its PE is over 1,000. They're only $36 billion company. They do have a short float of 20%. But if you're looking here, Nebius has already extended through its highs right there. I did it on Friday. So nice little pullback potentially coming through. We did see CoreWeave get some deals with Anthropic. So Nebius kind of left by the wayside on that one. Obviously with their deals with Microsoft and everything, this provider of gigawatt power and data center, just giving the opportunity to get involved with that has been really great, but it's just potentially too far again. I mean, it's kind of like Marvell. We talked about like how well that stock has been performing off of its 200 period moving average. Look at Nebius, man. I mean, it's just been bouncing off here and kicking higher. But, they have this roller coaster type movement. And right now you're looks like you're maybe at the peak of the roller coaster. And sometimes that will create some downside actions. Now you get to sell event here with Jeffries or Freedom Capital. I don't even know who they are, but that's a downgrade. It's down 2.5% here today. If you're into Nebius, why not just take some off in case these guys are right? Just talking about slowing EBITDA forecasts. They did raise their target on them in 2027, but just claiming that they've gone too far too fast here for NBIS. So them and both CoreWeave, two interesting plays in the data center space. So I would watch out for CoreWeave potentially catching. Well, no, I mean, CoreWeave still has a little ways to go before they're up into this area where they could potentially catch a downgrade. Again, nice move higher. Unlike Nebius, CoreWeave is underneath the 200 period moving average. So I think I like Nebius a little bit better than CRWV up here, but could see a little bit of a downside play on NBIS on the downgrade. So nothing wrong with following the leader, getting a little bit out there. And then if you do like Nebius, having a chance to buy it back lower, especially if the turmoil continues in the market. Why not take? That's what I'm thinking about with Marvell, right? I mean, you can see here the NASDAQ is starting to rally here, and this is kind of just hovering. So I would say if Nebius gets back up to 144, probably a good sell spot, and then just wait till it breaks new highs again of 148 and maybe get yourself back in. So yeah, I like that, and thanks for bringing it up. And Starbucks, another call. Upgrade side of things there, as we know that they're trying to, work through some of their new management and new restructuring and everything on Starbucks. Nice little move up. Wow, same kind of ways, man. The last couple weeks has been pretty hot for a lot of names. So we'll wait to see Starbucks get excited on that one if and when it breaks this 102 area. Just a nice little bump up. I'd actually almost fade a lot of these plays. Everything I have written down today, I have Netflix as my number one long and my number one idea today, NFLX. We've been really hitting some of the ideas pretty hard and pretty successfully over the last couple weeks. So we'll see if we can have Netflix for a long. I wrote down 102.50. That's coming back in pretty decently. That's where your 200 period moving average was when we wrote this thing. So that's looking like a 103 bid, maybe potentially for Netflix. But it's only 8:47. We want to thank Michael for coming on, talking a little bit of crypto there, as iBit and ETH holding fort right now this AM. I guess we're just going to wait for 10 a.m.
Yeah, of course.
To come through. Oh, no, you have another truth up there? Is that a new one?
No, I was checking to see if there was a truth,
okay,
because there was a slight bump, down in USO and slightly higher in the market. It's not much, but it was a little bit of a spike. We hadn't really been doing much of anything overall, and then you flash over, I looked at the Qs. Not like they're green again, but heading toward the highs of the pre-market. So nothing crazy just yet. We have still an hour until, who knows? I don't really know what's going to happen with this whole blockade thing. Realities of it, Britain doesn't want to support. Is it a negotiating tactic? Will we get some kind of a response? Because if there was one, it would be disastrous for Iran. So you got to figure something's going to come. But it doesn't seem like there was any news story just now that really caused any slight spike in the market, any slight drop there in oil futures. So we'll just mosey on and keep our ear to the ground. That's why we have Adara. She's locked and loaded all day long and be ready, just like we know she will be. And I think we got a fix for that chart issue.
Okay, good.
Ooh, that's good. Iran is willing to continue discussions with the U.S.
I mean, the market's starting to go upside.
Yeah, but the question is, does that cause the blockade? That's what I want to see. If this is true, do we get the blockade off? Because that's what will ultimately matter, because you're always working to your next available deadline, and that deadline would be today. I suspected that we wouldn't come to that. I think that would be pretty bullish for the market if only Goldman had reported positive, or actually, no, Goldman did report positive earnings. If only Goldman had been up, then I think you'd have like zero reason not to continue some of the strength. Hanging off of their lows, but that sounds pretty good so far, Dara, but I don't know, your thoughts. You expect we get something else before 10?
I know that what happened here with the other 8 p.m. deadline here for the Strait of Hormuz, we got an agreement around 6:30. So with that in mind, if we're going to use the exact same time frame template, which obviously is unrealistic, it's geopolitical conflict, things change all the time. I was kind of expecting if we were going to get any kind of resolution here, we'd get it at 8:30 a.m. So again, roughly the same amount of time left for the deadline with what we saw with that other 8 p.m. deadline. That being said, that hasn't happened yet. So we're going to wait and see. You guys know I will keep you all posted. I think if we do, I think we currently could get something. I think it's going to be a wait and see matter. We have a headline here with Microsoft and Amazon, and then we'll get to that Best Buy downgrade. But I'll start here with this MSFT headline because this just came through about 20 minutes or so ago. We had CNBC reporting that there was a memo written by OpenAI Chief Revenue Officer Denise Dresser in which the company praised Amazon and the relationship with Amazon. They said that's how OpenAI can expand its enterprise market share. In the same memo, they criticized Microsoft, saying that Microsoft has, quote, limited our ability to reach clients. So OpenAI, yay, Amazon, nay, Microsoft this morning. Let's talk, though, about BBY getting hit with a downgrade this morning, Sharif. Not a lot of volume on this one, though.
Yeah, double downgraded, Dara, from from buy to sell, a substantial price target reduction as well from 76 to 59. Essentially, the call reflects what they're saying is growing concerns around demand, around margins, as well as pricing pressure. Goldman specifically here, as well as many other different analysts, are flagging the rising memory component costs, which are expected to put prices up on laptops, computers, and other electronic components. This could lead to either margin compression for Best Buy, or you're just going to have it passed on by the retailer, by the manufacturer onto the consumer, in which case there will be demand destruction. So they're saying this is not a good look as a result of this increase in memory prices, saying consumers may also decide to trade down to cheaper products. We'll have to wait and see, but not a good look here to start the morning for Best Buy.
Are you guys thinking Best Buy or Best Sell today?
Ouch. Oh, no. Okay, well, that was a good pun. Well, what were we just saying about Nike? If it's in a downtrend, the trend is your friend to the end when it bends. And this doesn't seem like it's anything but in a downward trend. Maybe not as bad. And you could make a solid argument that, okay, it hasn't really gotten to the April low. And when you start thinking about like things like that tariff bottom, like it would be, in theory, a significant price level. Also, it hasn't really even broken the absolute bottom here at 59. So it's got a triple bottom on it where you're at a support level. But I'm more inclined to go with the Nike stand. Like if it's trending down, you're looking for areas to short pops and continue trend. I just don't know that hitting the short when it's right at and hasn't made that flat bottom break yet. Like it's there, it just hasn't made the flat bottom break on Best Buy. So I think it's more of a wait and see. But retail has been under some pressure. We know this. And you know, regardless of what happens at 10 o'clock or this morning or even in the short term with the conflict, input prices are going up and they're going to stay up for a little bit of time. And that's going to put a lot of pressure on the global economy. It's going to put a lot of pressure on almost every single sector. And it's going to hurt the pocketbooks of the retailers they want. The worst buy? Oh,
we brought the coffee, yeah.
Buddy.
No, I'm thinking for Best Buy, it's the same type of thing. Like everything's gotten so much more expensive. My kid comes down to me and says, "Have you seen the prices of PS5s?" And you know, like I paid $550 for mine. They're $850 right now, brand new. PS5s are more expensive now than when they released them. You know, like that's what's happening. So PS5 was released, what, 6-7 years ago, maybe more than that, and probably more than that. And right now, I was reading something on the weekend, they're more expensive now in retail stores than they were when they were first released. And that's because of the price of the components that are coming into that. So if everyone is sort of seeing those type of things, you know, buying a new computer, buying this, buying that, buying parts, right now you're at such an expensive spot that people are holding off. I think it was kind of an easy take there on Best Buy. I'm sort of sad that I didn't think about it. You know, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I had these discussions with my kid. We just built our computer a couple months ago, or maybe less than a month ago. Thankfully, we didn't need that many parts. But yeah, that was part of the story, right? Is the fact that you're looking at, these different, maybe even third-party sellers or whatever, to get pieces. And right now, Best Buy suffering from that. I mean, even the chips that go into your TV or whatever is getting more expensive. And I think people are holding off on those big purchases right now because thinking that, hey, if supply chain issues sort of settle down, then, and part of the problem is, the Microns, the SanDisks, and WDCs of the world. So if you were going long on these stocks, you don't have a problem with paying a little higher component prices because hopefully you made money in the stock. But, SNDK just taking out all-time highs again last week and up to 870, keeps on trying to get higher and higher and not slowing down at all. Well, it's trickling down into companies like Best Buy and into consumers. So, as it continues to go higher, no surprise there. Like I said, I think Best Buy was sort of an easy take to go to the downside there, and I'm just upset that I didn't think about that earlier because that would have been a good short that you could have easily wrapped your mind around. The Nasdaq's rallying right now. I mean, we got some nice moves up there from Apple right now, starting to kick up through 260. Hopefully that will happen. We did have a nice end of the day there on Friday for Apple, making that huge move right there into some imbalances. Nice move up to 260. So we'll see if we can wind up holding around a 259 or so base. Apple trying to take out its 50-period moving average. Like we said, all clear in stocks? I don't know, but it looks like some of these names starting to get going again, back up to the upside, including some of the chip names. And we're still watching out for that Marvell to see if we can get higher, get out of that position. And there goes AMD up about $1.50 here in just over a half hour. So yeah, some of the names starting to go. Palantir, look, we have our watches. Make sure you go grab that watch list. Our link in description as well. 131. Palantir starting to go up after the first ever mention of a symbol by a sitting president was happened there on Friday when he just mentioned the software, of course, that we all know that Palantir has and that they've been using to target certain, to hit certain targets and
identify, select, and the rest.
Yeah. So, anyways, Palantir upside there today, up 1 point, up to 131, up 2.5%. We'll see if that gets going. But thanks, Randy, for the nice warm coffee, and I hope everybody out there is able to have something similar to that.
Or whatever you do.
Well.
Maybe you're a tea person. I don't know. We like our cup of Joe around here. I mean, among the things bouncing, you're going to see Bitcoin through pre-market highs here, and that's with Iran being willing to talk. It's the headline we got. Notably, or maybe it's not notable. It's up to you. I see SLV under VWAP and not as much of a bounce, still in its downward trend. So a little bit of a lag there. And then if we flip on over, like you've got GLD, which is a little bit stronger. So gold a little bit stronger than silver. But as quickly as we're looking like we're going up in the market, sort of down in oil futures, they catch the pre-market low at 133 and then just sort of hang on. Again, not a gigantic move overall. It's still very much inside. You can make the argument that even with it, we're still kind of going sideways in oil futures, sideways in the overall market. So there's nothing, it's not standing out yet. Not yet, but it's a good start. I mean, it's better than the alternative. US is still up 7%. Over the weekend here. So a little bit of a pullback of 0.5%, not that big of a deal, but we'll take what we can get, and we will not get upset. No. So a wise person once told me, Sharif.
Go right into the futures and our morning rundown because it's almost 9 a.m. and quite a lot to talk about today.
All right, we're down 0.5% here to start the morning on the SPY, but we did close just a smidge below that 680 level. So we're going to say that's going to be our first area of resistance if we can catch a bit of a bid here. It looks like the market's trying to recover. We're looking at 680 as resistance level 1. If for whatever reason we sell, maybe there's a blockade, a naval blockade at 10 o'clock. We're looking at that 672 and a half level a day. We bounced off there multiple times in early February, mid-February. So we're looking at that as our first level of support.
Let's take a look here at our morning watch list, which you can get for free. Just subscribe here. You're going to see a link right there on your screen. We cover any news that's going to be happening in the day. We have events, economic events. If there's Fed speakers, if there are earnings, you will not be without information. So definitely join us there for that watch list, which again, FREE free. Let's start here with USO. I believe the top name on our watch list this morning, and for good reason, because Sharif, you just alluded to a little event that could be happening at 10 a.m.
Yes, a naval blockade of all Iranian ports is what President Trump articulated yesterday. We'll have to see if that goes through or what, but the move does follow failed peace talks between the U.S. and Iranians, as the Pakistanis were mediating there in Islamabad, ended up with no deal being struck. U.S. is targeting all maritime traffic into and out of Iranian ports, with enforcement to begin immediately upon that 10 a.m. deadline. Tanker traffic has all but collapsed from 100 plus vessels per day to basically a fraction of that. Again, I really want to stress that does not include the shadow fleet. President Trump is considering, though, further military action, including potential strikes on Iranian infrastructure. He spoke about bridges. He spoke about power plants and power stations. We'll have to see if he follows through with that. But the U.S. is also attempting to interdict vessels tied to Iranian toll payments, as the Iranians have been trying to extract payment for safe passage through the Strait. President Trump very displeased with that, Adara. Short-term price direction will hinge on whether tanker traffic resumes and whether any escalation into direct military conflict resumes.
Yeah, I just saw a report here, too, from Bloomberg suggesting that this blockade is not going to be limited to ports or oil terminals. So this could be a wider scale blockade than we necessarily were aware of. Again, Bloomberg reporting, citing a memo from the U.S. How do you guys feel about oil and related plays today?
Well, at least until proven otherwise, you gotta be thinking a little bit bullish. That being said, we already have this Iran's willing to continue discussions, according to the envoy. So with about an hour to go, there's always a chance that there is a walk back. If there is a walk back, I think you fully expect to see, maybe not an entire gap fill, but at least half back into the prior highs from last week. But what was interesting is almost every single day, we've had some kind of a, okay, now we start doing something different moment to the upside in USO, and every single one of those has just been this like there's like a great turning point. You didn't get it on necessarily on Wednesday, but on Thursday and Friday, it was the same thing. It's like, boom, bounced, trended higher, reversed, and then it was a short the rest of the day. Bounced, trended higher, reversed, and then it was a short the rest of the day. So I'm just looking for that move. It'll be more of a patient, wait for an uptrend, or it could be like maybe it does a downtrend, and then you're just waiting for it to break that trend. But that requires some patience here, and that didn't happen. This one didn't happen until noon on Friday, and then you go back on Thursday and made that curl at about 11 o'clock. So let it do some work, and then once it's a trend break, allow that to be the play. And obviously you can watch those trend breaks, and if it's trending up and breaks down, that can be strong for the market and vice versa. There's other ways to sort of express that notion.
Yeah, I was going to try to look here on what happened on Friday. So, yeah, like the high break wasn't really that great. There was really no low break until about 2 o'clock there. I'm just talking about like some of these pre-market levels that we're looking at. We came back in and sort of bounced off that on a relatively light news day there on Friday. And then obviously on Sunday, we get that news right now of the blockage going to be happening, I guess, officially at 10 o'clock. I guess that's just potentially Trump will come on and speak about it at that time and explain exactly what the rules of engagement are going to be. And I think that's what we just wait for, right? We wait to see if this drop down does happen. I think it's almost a break short right there. Like by the time this opens up 9:30, you don't need to wait for the market to open. But if you're going to trade this, it's only a half hour after, and then I think you're going to get some talk about what exactly this blockade means. So I would just wait for that to happen. For me right now, oil is really not even, it's on the radar, but not looking too carefully at it. We're not going to get to silver. So I have silver written here. I have the sticky note now out. I've been posting it. Also looking for some ideas. See if you guys have any. I want to go over the ideas that you guys have. A few people posted already. But right here on the note, I just have silver short at 67.25. Looks like we're trying to get into that right now as well. So, a little bit of a bump up here. That's sort of the pre-market high. We'll see if silver wants to hold the downside right now, down 3%, just trying to play momentum short in something. And right now, oil, just the momentum's long. And too much news around that. I don't think a blockage of the strait here should really affect the price of SLV. You're already starting to head a little bit south side. We will watch the dollar against SLV. All right, what's up, market?
Architect, I like that.
What is it? Marketect?
It's almost like architect, marketect.
Oh yeah, marketect. Yeah, it's a good one. First time caller. Hello, ring ring. Hey, what's going on over here? You're not just the only first time caller, of course. Not again, Kathy. Okay, long time listener, first time caller. We love that. I love when they say that on sports radio stations and all that kind of stuff. Nothing but leave. Cream, get that money.
Cash rules everything.
You know, we're going to get that dollar bills, y'all. So shout out to Wu-Tang Financial. And if Wu-Tang Financial is you know, managing your money, you're probably doing okay. I mean, I think
because you're well diversified.
Yeah, they're in a lot of bonds. They're in a lot of bonds. You know, you got to
diversify your
bonds. I mean, that's what they're doing. So if you've been in bonds for the last little while, you're probably okay right there. So shout out to Wu-Tang. And I remember seeing them a couple of years ago and wouldn't mind seeing them again. So we'll wait for Wu-Tang to come back to Toronto.
I feel like Wu-Tang would buy Tesla shares.
I think Wu-Tang, yeah. Wu-Tang is a major Tesla shareholder. Yeah. So let's go find out what FSD is doing in Europe.
We're going to talk about that really quickly as well. Want to mention, because MSFT looks like Microsoft just spiked a little bit here, giving some of it back. The information reporting that Microsoft is piloting or planning here new Copilot features that are inspired by OpenClaw. So looks like Microsoft trying to take a little bit from OpenClaw here, but TSLA, big milestone here when it comes to FSD approval.
In the country of the Netherlands, the Dutch giving FSD, supervised, of course, the nod for use now on their city streets as well as highways. It follows a lengthy 18-month approval process where the Dutch regulator named RDW basically gave it a try and said it was good enough for their streets. Now, RDW will submit the FSD application on behalf of Tesla for European to the European regulator for coverage on that entire continent. But I want to make a really important distinction that the EU version of FSD is different than the North American version. There are many different things. Turn signals are not automated on the latest version, nor is the steering torque, so it can't make sharp turns. There are many other differences as well to comply with European regulations. But FSD, as we know, of course, remains core to Tesla's long-term valuation. Much of Tesla's 1.3 trillion or 1.2 trillion valuation centers around robotics as well as autonomy. This is just that. And they've been dealing, Tesla that is, been dealing with slow EV demand in Europe, partly due, of course, to an aging vehicle lineup as well as backlash to Elon Musk himself. So this, Adair, could be maybe something to kind of move the needle there, as we got February data that showed that sales first increase in over a year.
You think this is a needle mover for TSLA stock today, guys?
Look, if it moves, I don't think it's necessarily because of this. I think Tesla can move today. I just don't necessarily feel like this is the reason. Like, it'll be one of those situations. If Tesla ends the day, let's say, up 3 or 4%, it'll be like, Tesla with positive FSD Europe news up blah, blah, blah. Or I just don't know that that's really the reason. The market sentiment catching a bounce here, if we can, provides an opportunity for Tesla because it basically held out all last week without making a fresh low. Like, you came in on Tuesday, it made the low, and then held it on Thursday and put in a series of higher lows. And what's interesting is it couldn't break through 350. I think when it bounced the first time, it's like, well, let's see what happens. And then it failed at 350. The one green candle on that Wednesday in the open was at 350 and rejected. The next day, under 350 again. So you can pretty clearly see it's got a very almost clean breakout level through the 350. Is it because of this if it goes? I wouldn't go that far, but it doesn't really make a difference. Once it's through 350, I think it's got room to the upside regardless. And remember that daily charts, it's been slowly trending down. Well, it held, these were bad dark pool wicks. It held the lows. Despite that downward trend, it held all week at the same bottom. So if it doesn't break that, I think a 350 break is going to be in play.
Yeah, I don't know why we wouldn't go long down here around 345-ish. It's just a matter of trying to catch that falling knife. I mean, here it is on Friday, bouncing quite nicely in and around these areas. So I think we can probably, you know, NASDAQ trying to get a base. I think it's very risky to make a call right now, but yeah, like just breaking out. We've seen Tesla's been a huge trade when it works, and we've definitely hit that in the past here. So this is looking like a really great break long on 350, and then when that does, then you're just gonna have to play back and try to. I think it's like a $2 or $3 hold, because right now it's proving to you that it kind of wants to hold 347 right now. So what I could see happening right away off the open, and we've seen this many times, makes a move up. And then you're kind of like FOMO, you miss the move, and then it makes its move back in, and then that's where we try to jump on the stock in and around 347 to 348 in this area. So yeah, let it go up and tick around here, and if it does do that in and around 350, it probably will give back a little bit You know, especially, it depends what the market does, but if the market hangs out for until around 10 o'clock or whatever, I think a run into 350, great. You can even punch a little long. Like if this is going to be a 2 or 3 unit play, you can grab 1 unit here on a 350 break in case it extends out and you get a $5 winner. But I do think that there could be a break and fake back into these levels where we've seen some pretty good support. It's on both sides, right? It's good resistance, and then I also think it's good support. But for today, if the move is higher to begin with, then we know that the long should play. So then we'll use these levels as support rather than resistance because we'll have broken through. So for me on Tesla, yeah, man, it is a long. There's some people in the chat I saw talking a little bit about Rivian. We have some time to spare. My daughter was making me these squish things. She's into these Nido things now. This is a homemade one. She has about 20 of the actual Nido things. So she's doing some projects and making these at-home little squeezy things. So shout out to Gia, they're making that for me. Oh, and we posted it up. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw on Instagram. Oh, this is actually a pretty cool thing my wife did on Instagram here. It's their last game there that they had on the weekend. That's them coming out, but yeah, that's really cool. But here it is right here. So here she is here. This is our last game. So she was, oh, thanks for everybody. Lots of 132 likes. Really appreciate that. Always got a coffee in the hand. And then these are Sour Patch Kids. We tried to get these little secret trick that you can have, and they didn't really work that well. She did really great, though, got a goal. No, just sour. There's a lot of pro athletes are using these sour. They're squeezing a lot of lemons. It's just a sour in the Sour Patch Kid. You're supposed to give it a little bit of a go. Oh, wow. Here's my son, how small he was. This man is almost as big as me right now. And how long ago was this? This was, I don't even know, March 3rd. I don't even know when this was. Oh, 2019. There it is, when we had the green screens. So this is 2019 back in the day.
What were we doing with that rug?
I don't know. That rug is somewhere right now. We have different peds and everything right now. But there it is. Yeah, that's my son. Is now 14 and would be the second biggest guy around here right now. So shout out to that. But yeah, no, Rivian, this is making a nice little base as well. So here's Rivian just trying to get going. Taking out the 50 period moving average would be the first step, and that's right here at 1550, then holding 15 down into 1450 as well. So we'll see if we can wind up holding some of this base on Rivian. This is looking like it wants to break a little higher. I mean, this could be a real good run on an 18 break. So if you like Rivian, why not start accumulating right now? Watch out for an $18 break there on Rivian as that plant in Georgia trying to get those R2s out. And I know that our family's waiting for an R2, so hopefully that will wind up coming in pretty soon. But yeah, Rivian and Tesla on the minds today. Let's go back over the desk and look at, Goldman Sachs, that's right. So we did have the kickoff to Q1 earnings, bank earnings, started this AM. Let's go find out the story with Goldman, then we'll have a look at the charts.
Yeah, and for the first time that I can remember since I've started, we had just one bank reporting on its own on a day to start off these bank earnings. But GS, I mean, sales beat, EPS beat. What else can you tell us, Sharif?
Yeah, Dara, it was a good report. There is one little area that didn't do well. We'll get to that one in a second, but it was strong Q1 results. It was driven by equities trading as well as a deal-making strength. Profit rose on the quarter, guys. They took home $5.4 billion in profitability. That is not a top-line number. That's a bottom-line number. Equity trading up 22%, up to $3.53 billion on the quarter. But that's where it kind of all falls apart. Their FIC category, named Fixed Income Currencies and Commodities, dropped 10% year over year on the quarter, down to $4.01 billion. Investors often view this FIC division as a gauge for the raw market activity, and a miss here suggests that, despite the volatility in the market, Goldman wasn't able to capitalize on it as effectively as analysts had hoped. Their asset management revenue did rise, though, 10% year over year, kind of offsetting that FIC category up to $4.08 billion. M&A activity remains surprisingly resilient, supported by, of course, AI-driven investment, as well as the softer regulatory stance under the current administration. IPO markets are heating up, and they've got an eye on the SpaceX IPO. You better believe that. And they're also looking, of course, at OpenAI.
Yeah, certainly lots to talk about here. And again, they're not the only bank reporting this week. Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, and Citigroup. You're going to get tomorrow morning Bank of America and Morgan Stanley on Wednesday morning. I believe Charles Schwab on Thursday. So, guys, what's the look for our first bank of the season?
Well, if this was Morgan, I'd be like looking for the place where you're buying the usual dip that we see. It's at the Goldman's at the 50. on the daily, but the support's at the 200. So it feels like maybe we didn't go far enough to immediately think you want to pick this one right up. The support was pretty clean. Like we trended down from the highs and then boom, and then we hold the 200 period again. So I think if it gets down there, I think that's a good place to scoop if you like it. Again, I like Morgan better. It's probably a very similar chart, so no need to go over it. They do have the call upcoming. So I would think even though a lot of times you've been pretty good to go when you buy the dips on these bank earnings names, it's kind of already bouncing with the market, and you do want to make sure you get through that call. So I think it's a wait and see mode. Look for that 200 period moving average on the daily. I'm not as concerned with Goldman and say Morgan, who have the trading and the M&A side of things, as I would be with the other banks. So it's a good print, but I'd be more interesting to see some of the others come through, because I'm less concerned about Goldman and Morgan, and I'd like to see how the rest of bank earnings go from a sentiment standpoint.
Yeah, well, the market's trying to claw back here, which is real nice for all that. So I think the banks can work as well. Down 4%. I think you want to pick up some Goldman Sachs. I mean, what a great stock. What a strong position Goldman has in the market. You know, you're going to go through peaks and valleys, obviously, when you're looking at these stocks. And this is part of what earnings season does for you, right? It gives you an opportunity to sort of reweight and rethink about what positions you actually have. And I mean, has Goldman ever really disappointed? I mean, this is a nice move up. Sure, during 17 had its troubles getting back going, and then once COVID happened, we started to break through that malaise and got going since then. But this was again a $280 stock back in 2020. It's tripled up from there. Now you're up, or even more than that. You're up to 910, looking to break through 1,000. I think 1,000 has an anchor to it, and it will probably get pulled right up to there. So another 10% higher, and you're right there into all-time highs. Goldman gave you a monster opportunity to dip by right there into 780. Whether or not you took it or not, up to you. I didn't. I'm still holding on to Goldman forever. I just have a small piece, but it's a nice move higher there, and I think it continues. This is just a weekly chart for Goldman Sachs, and as Neil mentioned, they're on the daily. Held the 200, and it's a great trade. You're just right back into this area. I think you nibble here if you're excited about it, but the other thing is you have banks all week, right? And so if you're looking at something to say, hey, maybe I'm thinking that this could be a play, if every day banks start to inch down just a little bit off earnings and then maybe get bought up in the afternoons, you might want to look at something like an XLF, because tomorrow you have 4 banks, big banks reporting. So that's going to create, again, another potential move down. So XLF down into here, into 48 to 49, that's looking pretty good to me. It's not like it's gone away from it. Some of these tech names and some of the other plays have really started to take off. XLF, although has gone up quite nicely, you did have a nice move down, and now you're going to get it potentially back in here around that $48, $49 mark, ahead of some of the bigger names that are coming through. I think the street really loves Citigroup, and I could see that being a good one. And then tomorrow with JP Morgan, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, why not pick up some XLF? If we get another weaker day tomorrow, maybe you get something around that $49 mark, and then you're in an ETF that's going to be a strong one, hopefully, especially with more M&A and some of the restrictions getting lifted in the banking sector with this new administration. I know it's not new anymore, but that was the whole thought, that with the Republicans getting in, banks should create good buying opportunities. And really, XLF has given you a good dip buy opportunity right now. I mean, not even into tariff lows, but we got pretty close, right? This 47 was a great little spot there. So I like XLF for the long, and I think Goldman Sachs gets bought up in the afternoon today. I don't know about right away. This actually little bump here, up about 10, 15 bucks from the lows, probably will get sold off a little bit off the open. So watch out for Goldman Sachs. We don't have anything on the imbalance locator. I've been sort of waiting to see if GS is showing up on here. It's not. So right now, nothing as far as Goldman Sachs or any big banks concerned right now on the imbalance locator space. We saw Artemis, so that was a great success, so that's awesome. They're going upside right now. That's just Virgin Galactic. Not a big mover, though. And other than that, yeah, nothing else on here. So, all right, let's go back over, talk about some more defense names with Palantir.
I want to mention Microsoft here, too, because I know a lot of people are talking about this in the chat. I mentioned it a couple minutes ago, but basically the information reported that MSFT is developing some new Copilot features that are actually inspired by OpenClaw. The market does seem to like this catalyst, so just be aware that's the deal with Microsoft. But let's talk about another AI-related name here and defense play, as Sean mentioned. Palantir got the nod from President Trump on Friday, and Kathy Wood picking up some stock as well.
Yeah, some political and some institutional support there, Adara. ARK Invest purchased 85,485 shares. It's about a little bit less than $11 million total. That's across multiple of their ETFs, not just one. The buying does suggest dip buying conviction rather than, an accumulation at these levels. Kathy Wood continues to position Palantir as one of her core AI holdings. And with respect to the political catalyst, President Trump publicly praised, Palantir's defense and warfare capabilities in a Truth Social post on Friday. It was sort of unexpected, but the shares are still down about 28%, give or take, year to date, and the high valuation levels of this stock is also raising concerns, trading at about 99 times 2026 earnings. And competition, Adara, especially from the name you just mentioned there, Anthropic, as well as others, making Palantir not the only player in the game when it comes to custom enterprise AI.
Yeah, certainly one to watch here today. What are your thoughts on Palantir?
I think we've seen a situation where if you go against like a recent endorsement for the president for either the market or sector or a stock, in the short run, that hasn't been the right way to go. I think we saw what happened with Intel, but that was an actual direct stake, and when they took a stake in LAC, that was good for a while, then it wasn't. This is a bit different from that, in that there's no investment, particularly in Palantir. All of that being said, it had a triple bottom at about 126 bucks, and on Friday, that looked like a reversal candle to me. It doesn't. The reason why can be icing on the cake, or it cannot matter at all, but it's still a bottoming tail on the daily chart, and it's holding on some higher lows. Like the Thursday bottom turned into resistance after the news, and that's that 129 area. So as long as it holds this, and then also, of course, prior close, the 128, like it just seems like a grip and rip to the long side for me. It even has a bit of the Palantir, a bit of that Tesla chart look, where you have a kind of like a multi-day resistance it could take out as well through 132.5. But the first look will be the dip into that, we'll call it the post high, like that truth post top on Friday. And as long as it holds on to those gains, I like it. It helps that the daily chart gives you a reversal look in addition to that. So yeah, it's definitely going to be on the radar. And I just wanted to know, you'd mentioned Virgin Galactic there and Artemis and some of the space names. For now, it does look like you have a bit of a topping moment here for Sidus. Sidus was running, and then Artemis lands, and it kind of made that top at the 420 level, as we were mentioning on Friday, and we've gapped underneath it. So as long as it holds on underneath last week's lows, I think this one can be in a bit of a pullback state after the successful mission. Sometimes it's a bit of a sell the news, and that's what looks like it's happening on some of those space.
Yeah, I was, since we're talking a little bit about Palantir here, I don't have it written down. This name could be like a grenade, man. I mean, it's just where you're just like waiting to catch it, and then it just blows up in your face. Like, I don't know if we want to sit here and look at, wait for something like this to happen to us. Like, this was Friday. You really had a dramatic move down and then a nice little bump up there. So today, we're still hovering. Obviously that move up there on the president, but we'll wait to see if Palantir actually wants to hold this 200-period moving average. That's generally been a great look for me. So I'm going to wait and see if we get 130. I mean, it's nice that it's hovering right around 130. I could easily see this falling right into our lap, and then us having to make a decision there. So for me on Palantir, it's a pretty easy play. Wait for this 130, and then you do have a bottom. If we're going to use something as 129 was the top there, as Neil was mentioning there on Friday. So just kept on bouncing its head against 129. So I would say 130 might be the first look, and then we probably give it up if it breaks 129. So definitely looking long in Palantir. Would like to wait to see the imbalance locator come out. But yeah, Palantir for me seems to be a long today, but up 2.5%. I could see it getting almost back to zeros, which would be right back in here into 128. So I'd let this settle down. First look will be at 130 if we like it, depending on what the market does. And then looking at that 128 to 129 area for some kind of support there off of Friday. So, we'll see if we can get back into there and try to buy this. Nice dip down. I don't know if you're going to get a 123 print today, but, let's get away from this if it breaks 128, because then we don't have anything until 125, 126. So pretty easy structure play for me here on Palantir today. Look at it at 130, see if we like that. If it winds up bouncing around and holding, we can go long. Otherwise, we wait for a 129 possible dip buy and break it out down through 128.
Before we get to our last headline here, we do have another set of comments here from Iran, at least reportedly suggesting they could be willing to do some more negotiations. I'm hearing reports that Iran's ambassador to India said that Tehran is ready for U.S. negotiations, but only if Washington refrains from its plan of, quote, illegal demands. So just another headline to be aware of here. Let's talk, though, speaking of geopolitical headlines, about FXI in China, because it looks like President Trump, he mentioned some of these potential tariffs for countries working with Iran. China could be caught in the fray.
Yeah, Derek, they could be caught to the tune of 50% tariffs on all Chinese goods coming into the United States, of course, if they supply weapons to Iran. The warning follows reports that China may be preparing to send man-pads, I guess that's what they're called, man-pads, shoulder-fired air defense systems to Tehran. Trump casting doubt on the reports, but made it clear that any confirmed support would trigger aggressive economic retaliation. China has historically been a key economic ally of Iran, and they purchase about 80% of the sanctioned Iranian oil vis-a-vis the dark fleet. We've been talking about this. No confirmed evidence, though, guys, of any direct military support by China for Iran. But even speculation is enough, of course, to increase that global uncertainty. And China specifically is very sensitive to the oil coming out of the Strait of Hormuz. Gasoline prices have already bumped up 11% in that country.
Yeah, and these comments are coming about a month away from President Trump's meeting with Xi of China. How do you guys feel about this headline?
Well, I don't think it should be a terrible surprise to anybody. That being really, when that threat came in, okay, we're going to put tariffs on anybody selling weapons to Iran. It wasn't like there's a gigantic list of people that you were referring to. It was one of two. It's like, oh, well, who do you think the GOAT is in the NBA? Well, I have a general idea who you're probably going to come with. So we shouldn't be surprised by this. So I'm not at all. From a sentiment standpoint, if you're looking to reflect it, there were some positive headlines for Baba last week, and I know this is a name that has been trending in the wrong direction for quite some time. Sentiment hasn't necessarily shifted in the space, but I think you're getting at least remotely close to a bit of a bottom. The problem is, until we stop talking, I know we're talking about China tariffs right now, and we're potentially talking about negotiations, but the leading headlines are still going to be oil and Iran and the Strait. And while that's the case, I feel a little bit like this is the wrong place to be looking for the bottom. Like maybe even give it another month or so, or maybe at least a couple of weeks to see how things go with Iran. But I don't think there's any reason to start looking too heavily at some of these. Baba, I think it is getting close, and of course it's valuation and it's cheap and all that stuff. It just doesn't feel like it's at a bounce point just yet. Speaking of bounce points, it's worth mentioning here, we just had I don't know, I didn't see an imbalance on it. Palantir just dropped about $1. I didn't see an imbalance, and there shouldn't be one because it's not even 928. But that just dropped a bit about.
There's an imbalance. No, remember the Nasdaq's come out at 925.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's small, 140.
Yeah. So
well, whatever it is enough to drop it.
Yeah. So there it is. It's not huge, but as Neil was mentioning there, so the Nasdaq comes out at 925. So with another update at 928. But there's the Palantir right there to the downside, and SQQ. So that's going to be a long on the Nasdaq, so that's now a buy, so that would be a short. So watch out for that as the Nasdaq's kind of just hovering around right now. Marvell with a small little sell as well there. It's kicking down to the downside. So some of the Nasdaq names that were actually up today seem to be getting hit to the downside. But for me, it's a pretty easy day right now because I've got the plays scheduled. And I asked you guys what kind of plays you might want to do here today. So Northwest goes Baba short. Dane Generous is watching out for Palantir. Alice says good morning. Sebastian says MOS. So he's liking some of the weed names there today. But this is what I have on board right now today, looking at anyways. We've got Netflix at 102.50. We've got the Qs looking for a short. Actually, that's coming up right now. Look at Marvell pulling back in. SLV 67 and change short, and iBit for a $41 short. So if we can have a quick little look at all those with only 2 minutes to go. So here comes iBit. We'll have to get up to 41. I'm going to leave that alone just for a little bit. See if we can climb up right into this area right there. That's where your 200 period moving average is. We'll see if we can get a dip down there in iBit. And then Netflix, of course. Really like this stock. We're just, shoot, I got to get rid of this. We're bidding 102.50 right now. And that's the price that we wrote down. We almost just got into there, actually, of 102.50. I got to get rid of this 103.40, and I'll make the chart look a little bit better to adjust that. So we almost got into 102.50. So if we do, I'm going to be sitting there dip buying that one. And then the TQs, which would be a NASDAQ pop through. So we'll wait. We're almost there right now. So let's just settle down. I don't want to take a trade in the first couple minutes. But yeah, good luck to everybody. It's 9:29 right now. The imbalances are out. The NASDAQ's trying to go positive now. What a nice turn of events that would be, right? We came in with the market down about 0.7. Now you're up to 0.3. So hopefully we can turn green. And I think that could happen almost immediately. And then we'll wait to see what happens at 10 a.m., of course.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see what happens. We don't know. It could be absolutely nothing, realistically. And we could have absolutely zero movement when this blockade goes into effect. Or we could see some kind of tweet saying, oh, no, it's not going to happen. Until then, you're locked and loaded. You're in the right spot. 30 seconds till open. Looks like Nike already made it turn back into its low, looking to fade this one at prior close and the 43 level. Similar on iBit. Palantir continues to drop. USO still sliding lower. The one headline we have has actually brought it back down a little bit here, but we got our opening bell for the first time this week, and we're going to go to Adara right away at the opening bell. So we'll get the bell in 2 and 1, and then we'll get some news.
We have to talk Tesla, guys. TSLA pushing higher after we get some comments from the Dutch regulator, the RDW, with regards to its FSD approval. They're clarifying this approval of the FSD is going to be valid in all roads within the Netherlands, and furthermore, saying that if we think it's good enough for the Netherlands, it should be good enough for all of Europe. They said they've actually notified the EU Commission or the European Commission of their plans to seek EU-wide approval for Tesla's FSD. So Tesla's, again, the regulator here in Netherlands not only saying, yes, we approve Tesla, they're saying the whole of the EU should approve Tesla, and we're going to push to make that happen. Before we send you back here, I do also want to shout out our friends at Origenics, because they have a quick biotech update here. OGEN, they've announced they've dosed their first patient in the phase 11A trial for their ONP-022, which is a treatment that targets mild traumatic brain injuries or concussion. Studies underway in Australia. It'll be evaluating some early signs of effectiveness. It's an important step forward, so just be aware here. OGEN, again, of course, the headline here is TSLA getting a big nod from the Dutch regulator. Back to you.
Okay, we have shut up for the one trade. Thanks to Dara for all that. And here we go, man. We're long. We're exactly where we wanted to be, and that's Netflix. So it's daily goal met, but we always talk like that. Here it goes. Upside for Netflix, 1 for 1. There's our 102.50. It's not only that, it's the number one idea that we had written down all day today. There's 102.50 for Netflix. It's a decent position. We have 1.5 units. Was waiting to get a little bit more, but we wanted this name. So here it is, Netflix. Let's see how long we can hold this one for. I have another offer right around here, 103.25. And then we'll just go and see if we can get that fill, which is imminent. And then we'll see if we get break through that 103.50 top side of the day. But it's a 1 for 1 start to the day here.
Yeah, and well, one of them is going to be gone, and that will be Intel. Intel just went again, another 2-3% move right off the bat, off the open. It did get Nike on a bit of a pop and fade. That one just continues to be a short till it's not. But Intel, another 52-week high, as it is just ticking 63.4. So barely breaking that 52-week high there on Intel. Hit enter a few times there. And so we actually tagged 42.10 down there on Nike. If it gets down in there, should probably take some out in front of that even dollar, as that continues to be weak. Palantir is still sliding, but it hasn't really broken down to the prior close. So first initial candle is red again on PLTR into a strong market. Gonna have to show some kind of a pep in its step in front of that 129 area. And Tesla's still battling with that 350 on the headline. Well, we had 2 headlines, and one you just got from Adara as well. So good news for them in front of Europe. or I guess the Netherlands, but right now only Nike for me. That just tagged the bid. Gonna keep reloading this one as long as we hold under that 42.5 zone. It's a short till it ain't. Some things never change with this.
It's too funny that we wrote down the TQ's 49. Okay, so right there, Palantir, exactly as discussed and talked about early on when we just mentioned Palantir about 920, saying that we were probably going to get a dip by right into that 129, and there's the hold of 129. Pretty smooth right there for PLTR. So yeah, good little look there if you guys had that. I'm gonna wait on it. The TQs goes right to 49 and then pulls back. Of course, we're long Netflix. So I'm gonna hold off on my opinions there for the short, although I do like the short. Let's let it build out a little bit. Netflix is already cruising, man. We don't even have, we have out, so I had about 1 3/4, almost 2 units on this one. And we just got an out. Our best out right there is at 30s. I am going to wait to see if we can extend through the high of the day on this play. So if you guys have this, and depending on what your plans are the rest of the day, I got to sit here. I'm going to go to the gym, but that's it. We've hit our goal if I cashed out right now, but I'm not going to do that. I think we can go higher here on Netflix, the #1 idea on the board for me today. Let's check out what SLV is doing quickly. And it's right here as well. This is that 67.25 area on SLV. So I was trying to be a little patient with the trades today, but a lot of levels are hitting right where I thought we could potentially, take positions on. So silver right now, 67.25. It's right here. It's right at its pre-market high. Let's see if it dances with the devil here or not. Nothing else really. Google looked like it wanted to take off a little bit off the jump there. Got up to 317, a little bit of a pullback. NASDAQ trying to go, well, it's trying to go green. We didn't get there. We didn't even really get close. We got to -0.2. We just have minutes away now until hopefully we hear about a resolve and maybe I don't want to say it's not Tuesday, so it's not Taco Tuesday yet, but potentially with oil pulling back in a little bit right now, hopefully there is a little bit of a discussion here where we can extend this blockade to another day, and we can talk a little more nicely about oil. So we'll see what winds up happening right here. As Netflix definitely having a problem at that 103. Other than that, man, it's iBit 71,000 doing okay right now for crypto. It did make a move higher. We were looking for 41 short, nowhere near that. The only trade that I'm debating right here is silver right at this level, or Palantir dip buy. But that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. So.
Yeah, USO continues to go lower. AMD, we showed Intel being super strong. Up at 40, whatever, and up another 3%, up at $64, almost at 63. AMD not quite testing that 250 level. It's up and now green on the session, so at least that's good, but it's nowhere near resistance just yet. NVIDIA as well, if it'll, come on. Well, I'm telling you, it's clawing its way higher. It's still down on the day. I don't know what this chart's doing. But we haven't broken out that top on NVIDIA. So really, it's Intel leading the way on the chips by far. You have to zoom out to 2021, I think, to find the last time it was up here with 65 as resistance on Intel. We're very patient to catch a bit of a curl. And I think you got to do the same thing because the long is pretty much gone at this point on Intel. With this, we're looking at iBit. iBit's not really moving all that much. So despite the strength in the market, Bitcoin does not approach Friday's lows for a fade. It hasn't really tagged the 40 level, so nothing going at all here on IBIT. Still just going to be the one short for me. And Nike, Palantir still holding for it, and Citus. That was the other name I'm watching. Yeah, looking weak. It doesn't press into 420. So we'll look at the 4 level. I just think it's a sell the news after the Artemis thing. So it's down 9% already today. Yeah, by the way, Goldman Sachs conference call is on right now.
Yeah, we probably should have shorted some silver right there. It looks like that is going to be somewhat of a play early on here on silver. Let me take a small piece right here and wait to see if we get a little bit better. I can get out of this if we break that high. We can be wrong on this name, maybe even 67.50 or so if we take out that 200 period. It looks like we could get a little bit of a bouncing moment there for SLV. Okay, like our Netflix is just doing its own thing right here. I actually tried to buy more and I sold by accident, so I had to rebuy it right back. So that's exactly what we did right there. So if you saw a little bit of a change, I hit the wrong key. I meant to buy a little bit more down here at 102.50, and instead I put put the sell key in there. So we had to buy it back. So now it's coming right back in. Still positive on it, but you know, is hitting it back in just a little bit, and we'll wait for silver to come back to the upside as well. We do have the stock visualizer, so you guys, if we have that, we can have a quick look. You get into the chat and type in whatever symbol you want into here, and then we'll be able to look at it there for you if anything is popping around. We had CoreWeave making some moves earlier on this AM, and let's see what's happening now. Yeah, CoreWeave, continued extension right now to the high side on CRWV. So there that one goes right now, trying to break out on CoreWeave. We did have that downgrade on Nebius. We can have a quick look to see what's going on with, there it is. So yeah, downgrade on Nebius. I don't think so.
Downgrade.
Yeah, remember we talked about this, and I said like it was just at its highs, and it's really taken off there, NBIS. So just be careful with that one. And I said, you know what, might be worth taking a little bit of off there on Nebius on that downgrade, but they went the other way. And just quickly on Marvell, and then we got to go over to Adair, and we'll see what that news is up to. There's Marvell making a move backside as well, 130 bottom for MRVL. What's up, Adair?
I just want to mention here, there's some big tech weakness across the board. I was just looking here into Oracle headlines here. Neil, they had like a press release at 8 a.m. Oh, they help utilities reduce costs and deliver measurable impact with AI. That's the only headline I'm seeing. Again, 8 a.m. looks like a pre-scheduled press release. I want to talk here about some of these tech names, Google, especially AAPL. Kind of pushing a little bit lower right now. Not a massive headline, but I think one worth mentioning. Financial Times reporting that the new EU competition official, whose name is Anthony Whalen, is likely to hold the line on big tech. So even though President Trump has, of course, been pressuring the EU to not overly regulate big tech, looks like the new EU competition authority leader is very likely to continue this pursuit of regulations here against big tech. Back to you.
Yeah, and Oracle absolutely flying. It's through 140, breaking 141 and 142 here. So the double bottom.
Like some Oracle down there.
Actually, it's not even a double bottom. You could even call it like a quadruple bottom. But double bottom from these February lows is looking to hold, but that trend isn't even close to broken there in Oracle. Look at that 50-period moving average just staring you in the face and slapping you in the face, really. The strength is still incredible. Well, in a select few name, maybe it's not everything, but first pullback in Intel is happening shy of the 65 level. So maybe it'll come back into some prior highs. You can forget about like a 61 dip buy. This was not going to be a dip and rip. However, this is the thing. You come in overnight and you think blockade and all that stuff, and that's supposed to be negative news, and it ends up not being when we get this Iran potentially willing to talk story. So still looking lower highs. Nike still doing the same thing. CIDU, which is CIDUS space, that's holding under VWAP as well. Looking for it to fill the gap down into about 370. USO, nothing burger, which is not surprising.
Nope.
We've seen this before where the bigger moves in oil futures tend to happen a little bit later, maybe after we get some headlines or it establishes some kind of a trend. But kind of like a boring slide to the downside here for oil so far, which you would think could bode well for the markets. But I feel like that's a sleeping giant. We don't gap this far and then only go sideways. It's going to move. Might just have to wait till closer to 10 o'clock here.
All right, guys, we got one going on here with silver. I mean, again, we wrote down 67.25. The high of the day, 67.25, right there for SLV. So we nailed that one. We should have a better price, of course, because we sat around and was uncertain of it, but we should just be following the note. And here it comes. There it goes. We get some 67. So that's going to be a good little one there as we'll hit the sirens up for silver. We'll go 2 for 2 on those calls so far with Netflix and SLV. But wow, okay, silver. Wow, you really did good there, didn't you, on the downside? So we'll see if it winds up holding and maybe potentially a little bit lower. We're now 20 cents out of the money, though, on Netflix, and it makes a move right into 102. We did buy a little bit there. I'm still waiting for one. Shoot, did we have a bad wick here? Boo. Okay, maybe I can edit this candle just real quickly here, 92. I'm going to get rid of this, 103.50s, just to show you guys what I'm looking at. Oops, it still didn't work. Okay, but right into here, that's 101. That's going to be my next buy zone right there, 101. And then if we lose, 101.50. And if we lose 101 right into here, then I think that will be the end of this trade. So just trying to let this one mature up a little bit and see if we can catch a win with Netflix right now. And willing to, I mean, into earnings this week. So, you know, could see a little bit of profit taking, obviously, but I like the stock and I want to be able to support it just a little bit longer here on NFLX. So that's Netflix. And then, you know, just looking back again, we had written down the TQs. We probably could have had that one. There's our Netflix 102.50, so it's under that right now. A losing trade. Well, we're flat on the trade because we took some out, but losing position right now. SLV, there's a 67.20 short. iBit, we didn't quite get there. And the NASDAQ, we did get there, but we didn't short it because we went long on Netflix first. But we'll see if that one wants to work out.
One of the big names on the visualizer was RCT. A lot of you are looking at that. It just halted through the high of the day here. So RCT up 143%. Halts at 139. The tap also says 139. So the theoretical auction price is that it will open flat. I'm going to see if I can find red clouds. Maybe get some data for you on it because I'm not sure the actual float on red cloud. Let's see. How big is it? Usually I say how big, but it's probably how small. It's not really how big is the float. What do we have for the float here? 19 million share float, of which, I don't know if that's right, but it says 1% short. So it's a low float story more than it's going to be short float. It's done 78 million, so it's turned it over about a bajillion times here. So watch out. Should open in about 4 minutes or so. Not the only small capper that is going, but my goodness, Oracle. Well, if you had Oracle up 3% on your bingo card, congratulations. I don't know many people that would have. Intel, I'll believe. Oracle, I'm a little bit shocked. A little bit shocked.
What was the news about Oracle?
I didn't even see the news on Oracle.
Okay. Yeah,
there was a press release at 8 o'clock that Adara had mentioned to the viewers, but I didn't see it myself, and it wasn't even on the radar. I know Intel makes perfect sense to me. You've got multiple things working for them in addition to this terafab, hey, I can shake hands with Elon and make the stock go up kind of deal. You had the U.S. government investing in them. You got NVIDIA, everyone and their mother. You even hear about this being talked as like a meme stock, which was crazy, but we did hear some of that on Friday. It's holding VWAP for now, but even if it loses the volume-weighted average price, I still think prior high down at 63 is going to make some sense. So the names that I'm in haven't done much else. A little bit of a lower high being put in on Nike. I'm trying to reload this one on the offer and see if we can get back into the lows. Sidhu is basically, hey, why isn't that showing up on my drop down? There we go. Sidhu's holding the same range. Should probably get some bids out there, but it hasn't broken up. Just looking for a bit of a sell the news into that 365 area on Sidhu. Apparently, CoreWeave still making some power moves.
Yeah.
Is it?
It was last time.
Yeah,
I remember I looked at Nebius.
Yeah,
Nebius
still
was,
up 7% CoreWeave.
Nebius was nice.
Yeah, this one is headed for a collision course with the January highs. So the highs on the year are about 114 here on CoreWeave. My guess is there's going to be some profit takers ringing said register when you get to that price. I think we're going to Adara.
Just be aware here, guys. GS on watch. Goldman Sachs finished its 9:30 a.m. conference call. I want to mention this probably because the most interesting thing I'm seeing here of these highlights are that they described private credit as a long-term opportunity. We know there have been some concerns with private credit as of late, so that does feel significant. Keep an eye on BLK here. BlackRock, of course, a private credit-related name at intraday highs, and they also report tomorrow morning along with JP Morgan, Citigroup, and Wells Fargo. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Adara. Yeah, look, we could probably look at Goldman. Why don't we do that in a second? But for right now, man, let's just go money, 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 because here it comes, man. There's silver, so we'll go 2 for 2 today with Netflix, and then silver making, I thought I was bidding, I'm bidding 88. Silly me. Let's take a 91 first, and then we'll cancel our 88, because why not? We're down there at 91. Maybe we can get a little dip by. There it is. So we get a 91, so there it is. We get filled on that one as silver right now. Our second idea to start the day there now working out. So yeah, Intel 9 straight up days right here to start the month. And yeah, congratulations to anybody holding on to Intel. It's been a great run, and we've done pretty good with this stock as well, catching the Brian Shannon 50-year VWAP, anchored VWAP there. And we'll take a look at the broader market when we get back from Madeira.
Circle here. I'm seeing a lot of the people chat ask about CRCL. I could not find any news on this. I checked on social media. There's a decent amount of attention, of course, but mostly along the lines of what is happening rather than any kind of concrete catalyst. Again, CRCL doing incredibly well to start the day, just rejecting that area around $93. Back to you.
We are going to look at that, but I just want to give a quick little shout out to all my silver heads out there. What's up to my guy in JKL? I'm not sure you're talking about SILJ, but there goes silver. And boy, oh boy, that was a good idea as we ring that register. I don't know if Joe's short silver or anything over there, but there it goes, man. Nice move to the downside on SLV. We take a day off, but we don't miss a beat right there. Taking that short, right as planned, right? I mean, we were talking about who didn't have certain things on their bingo card. Well, this was on our bingo card, and we took it. We just should have had a better price. We should have 67.25, which is what we wrote down. Instead, we'll take it here at 67.12s and get down there to the downside. So there it goes for us. It's silver, and it's a good one. So yeah, pretty happy with this move as there's silver now down 50 cents on this trade. I hope you guys are in this as well. Silver downside, Circle looks like upside.
Yeah, well, if there's no story on Circle, and I'm not seeing anything going too crazy there on Bitcoin, it's actually heading to the downside. I'm looking for potential mean reversion here. When we see these things come out of nowhere, that provides an opportunity. We saw it with Intel at least a couple of times last week. So I just paid for locates. If it goes in, it's going to go into this 94 level, and I'm just going to look for a trend break, topping tail, play a little bit of a reversal play. Down to Sky, thank you for the super chat. I'm not on the right page, so I'm not going to be able to throw it up there. But I do see you and want to get that one up. There we go. Nice day for Oracle. It is a nice day for Oracle. Over 5K profit in first 15 minutes. Also Microsoft on the radar. Yes, Microsoft with some Copilot, I guess they're calling it Copilot upgrades, I suppose. Maybe people will be more interested in them. Well, it's up, which is good. The market's down, not really breaking out those highs. Made its high in the pre-market and hasn't broken this flat top here at 375 yet on Microsoft. I stressed it yet. It definitely has a chance. But Circle's got my attention now. So now it's at that 94. So it's filled in the gap from the Thursday high. Is there a story on Circle there, Adair?
I'm not certain.
Okay, we got news with Adair.
We have to talk here about this market. NASDAQ pushing higher, S&P 500, I'm guessing, doing the same. We'll see what oil's doing. Oil pushing lower. There's a reason for this, guys. Keep an eye here on some oil headlines. New York Post reporting that Iranian officials are studying and considering abandoning uranium enrichment as a U.S. condition for ending the war. We know that the U.S. not wanting Iran to be able to get a nuclear weapon. That's been a massive contingency here. So it looks like, again, Iran considering the potential of following this condition with the U.S., and by that I mean abandoning uranium enrichment. Back to you.
So much for iBit long 40. That's not happening now.
No, this is why, you got to, you never know what levels are going to kick in, but yeah, this is why you just kind of get aggressive when you see the opportunity to do so. So there goes Netflix again, man. We stay on the same stock, and there's the dip buy on Netflix, and there's the move higher. So, like, you know, we couldn't be too much happier with some of these plays that we're seeing right now on the account, including a reload there in oil. Silver, we just got out of that silver trade as it busted higher, but I'll show you that in a second. Apple, NVIDIA right now, Micron upside. The bank stocks getting hit a little bit. Goldman down 3.79%. Amazon and Walmart, you know, some of these retail names getting hit. Tesla upside, so that's good on that new FSD in Europe talk. So that was a good one there. We'll go back over to the bigger markets now because we are starting to get a little bit of a move there. Look at the NASDAQ starting to go. So this has been really a nice little blessing there in disguise for Netflix. I mean, it dropped down into that 102. Now, it's still got to go in order for us to do anything. Silver went up. Oh, it went right up into the 200 period, and we stopped out there. So that was a break of 67.40. I just didn't want to be in this if we broke that, and we did, and it came right back in. So just a couple quick reloads there on silver. So it's going to be a flat trade on SLV at the end of the day because we do get stopped out there. But let's wait to see if it keeps on its movement to the high side, or if we could potentially, you know what, let me try to reload this right here on silver. We'll take a 12 here, and then we'll wait to see if we get a little bit higher in the 16s, and then we can now use that as our very out, 67.45s. So let's just put that in right now. If it winds up running that top, then we'll just, you know, close the trade and get out. But, you know, on that news there, we'll see if silver wants to continue. That 67.30 will be our next reload here on SLV, and nothing before then. And then if we get taken out, we get taken out. But that's what we're going to do now on SLV and see if we can get a litwhile bit of carry forward momentum now back to the downside. But there's the stop, and we always talk like this, man. I'm always going to be trading with stops just because if that continues, now it's going to look bad. We got stopped out 20 cents ago, but if that continues to go, right, I mean, you can't hold on for dear life. You got to sort of tap out when tap outs are necessary. So there's a huge move up. And let me guess, TQQ stops at 49 or something. That goes to 49.20. So that's right where we are right now, into the pre-market highs right now for the NASDAQ and the TQs. So nice little headline there as we get. So we'll have to wait to see if it continues the move higher here on the news from Iran.
It's a good headline, but USO's already turned a bit.
Yeah.
So maybe it's to be expected. It didn't quite fill in the gap. So a bit of a disappointment because I think that would have been a more obvious place for a bit of a curl. Nike came into the double top, held red, which would have been Friday's close, obviously, and is now pulling back in. Sidhu didn't care about what happened in oil futures, so I feel like that'll end up being potentially an independent play. It just did absolutely nothing, still holding underneath VWAP. Intel, on the other hand, that pulled right into the volume weighted average price. So market spiked up, and Intel I don't want to say it lost a bit, but it barely even got off the schneid here. It's still above the prior high. I want to let this drift. The idea was to let it drift into 63 because we didn't get 61s. So let's see if it can hold VWAP. If the next candle holds VWAP post this little rebound that we're seeing in oil futures, then I think we can be good to go to get our first Intel trade. iBit, as I said, is probably gone. You're going to have to let this one come back in here. Ooh, still sitting at VWAP. I'll let it come back in. If it can also hold VWAP, then we can play trend over there for IBIT. Unfortunately, you can like that 40 level, but it didn't really get anywhere close to it off of the open. And with this headline, it's entirely possible that we won't get it at all, which would be just fine. If the market wants to try to go green today, then I'm not going to be the one to stop it. So we're trying to get some VWAP on Nike, still in Sidhu, and either iBit at VWAP or Intel, if it can hold it, should be the next two plays for myself. By the way, I know there's some small cappers in there. That RCT, the small capper that was halted, Red Cloud, unfortunately, after opening up, it then halted down. It's now chilling out at the lows. Still above $1. This was a $1 breakout in the pre-market, but it did halt down and now trading a little bit lower. Yeah, they're here for a good time, not a long time sometimes, these small cappers.
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
That one actually made the high on the halt and then reopened lower. So it's one of those, if you took the halt up, it's just instant loss, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, we noticing you have existing home sales coming up at 10, so we can wait for that to see when that winds up happening, plus the blockade apparently happening at 10 o'clock as well. So we'll wait to see if there's any sort of a news story there, and we'll cover that as it goes. We did cover a little bit at 67 and change there for SLV. So still waiting to see if that one can make a little bit of cash. We are now 20 cents in. I'm going to take another piece off right now and a piece offering on Netflix as we'll see if we can get, okay, go. We're waiting at 96s here. This is a big trade for me. The number one trade on the sticky note, so we had to hit it with some sort of violence, so we did do that. Now we'll wait to see. We were able to get a dip down opportunity there for Netflix, so we did buy that dip right here, and now we'll wait to see if we do get it. I'm at 102.96s. Let me just go. Are we going to get it? I was about to offer right now 90s just because I don't want to miss it. All right, let's just do that. We'll offer. There it is. So we take a 90 fill right there on Netflix. Now we don't have to worry about it. So there it goes. Now we can let this thing go. We still have a big position, a unit and a half. The most we ever had was 2. So we just got out of a half a unit right now to the upside on Netflix as we averaged it back in there to the downside NFLX. Let's give it some room so it can pop. And if it does, then great. And we have the trade, and we have some of the lows there on Netflix. All right, so let's go over here and look at Uber. I think Uber is one of the more undervalued names right now in the market. Really think that they can, prove their worth here as we talk more about full self-drive and sort of the footprint that they have on the space. First mover advantage. I know Waymo is going to be coming there, so is Robotaxi. Let's see how Uber can sort of adjust to those potential headwinds and turn them into some tailwinds as they sign a deal with NVIDIA over their GTC conference, and apparently can get some full self-drive cars on the road, hopefully pretty soon, and watch out for some Uber going higher. I like it, and I don't know what Uber's sort of PE is. I'm gonna have a quick little look right now on Uber. I'm not buying more shares down here, but I do still hold on to a decent position. Market cap was only 143 billion, so that's pretty light. Short flow right now of 2.86%. Price to earnings 14. Like this is a I think anyways a growing tech name. PE 21.
14.
Yeah, I mean I only bring you guys classy stocks, you know, like wicked buy opportunities like Big Bear AI. But you know, there it goes right now to the downside for Uber. I was to the downside. I like the stock. I want to buy more, so we'll see if we get an opportunity to do that. We did take out, we talked about Marvell today, up there at 133. That's where my price was. So we do take an out there on Marvell in the portfolio for that. This stock was about a 90+% winner there on Marvell. So we got to take some out as it does take out the highs. And it was just a good run. I was not even expecting this. Like last week when I was here and we were down into here, I was like, well, we'll wait to see if we get a 125. We opened up today above that level and was able to take some out. So I do still hope it moons, but just like Palantir, if you sit around and wait for the moon all the time, you know, sometimes you shoot the moon and it comes right back in. And that's what happened here with PLTR a couple times up near that 200 marker. So we did take some out at 175, and we didn't feel great about it. It was during this time right here when we took it out, when it got back into the 50-period moving average. We had like something like 10 straight up days. We took a piece out. We did not feel good about it, man. When this went to 200, and it was looking like, okay, we might have made a mistake, and then on the way back in, now we just sort of sit on our hands and wait to see for some more actionable trading on PLTR. Hopefully that can come through now when we bounce off that 130. Not a horrible level, 130 for Palantir longs. But yeah, man, it's Oracle blasting right now. It's Circle. Some of these names continue to go, and it's Intel. But I'm still on these two names right now and doing pretty good with silver. And
I'm a huge fan of Uber. I just don't like the daily chart right now, but that's way cheaper than I actually realized. Their forward's under, I knew the forward was under 20. I didn't realize the current was going to be that cheap. I shouldn't be waiting. That should just be a value play. But I'll also have to fail on Citus as it just broke through that prior high at 4. So if I like 420, I'll wait again to engage until at 420 level. But we took the VWAP trade. Always going to try to grab it if we can.
Go, go, go.
It was the best stock on Friday, but today Nike wants to take out the highs. I don't know what the headline's going to be, but ultimately, as long as this one, well, actually hasn't gone green yet. So I might take another shot at this. It did hit low of the day originally, but we're now breaking out that top. This one, if it's a wick top, I might get back into this if we wick this and go back underneath, because realistically, it's still red on the session, and the market's absolutely blasting. So it's not nearly as strong as the overall market. So if this ends up a topping tail candle, I'll probably hop back into Nike, give it till, I guess, the prior close top, 62.65, I guess should have been that stop in the first place. Let's go to Adara. It's 10 o'clock. Obviously, no blockade.
We did get those existing home sale numbers a couple seconds ago. So existing home sales lower than expected, guys. This is for the month of March 2026, 3.98 million, below estimates of 4.05 million, also below the prior print. Now, existing home sales change, of course, also lower than expected, given that the print was lower than expected. So negative 3.6%. That's going to be a bit larger than the expected negative 0.7%. So again, larger than expected drop in existing home sales on a month-over-month basis. Also, lower existing home sales print. S&P 500 here hanging out near highs. We did get a little bit of a pop after the New York Times reported that Iran is considering abandoning its uranium enrichment plans in order to strike a deal with the U.S., because we know that is a very important point that the U.S. wants to make before they strike a deal. With that in mind, here's a look at USO. Right now pushing a little bit lower. Again, 10 a.m., so 1 minute ago from now, that's when we were supposed to get the blockade beginning, according to both Central Command, or CENTCOM, in the U.S. and President Trump himself. So we could see a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz right now. If I do get any details out of the Middle East, I'll keep you all posted. Lots of headlines here in general strength in the AI and tech space. Microsoft rocketing into new intraday highs. This morning, they did feature a little bit of a setback here from OpenAI, saying that Microsoft's limited their abilities to reach clients. But as MSFT also, according to the information, going to be releasing or considering releasing new Copilot features that are inspired by the very popular OpenClaw. So lots to be aware of here. CoreWeave strong also in that space, same with Oracle. Crypto also has some strength with CRCL popping in a big way. So lots to look at today. Like, subscribe, don't go anywhere. Stay with us all day. Back to the guys.
I thank you, Dara. We want everyone to recognize that markets have been extremely active lately. And for traders, this kind of environment creates big opportunity, more setups and more momentum. But to take advantage of these conditions, you need two things. And that is, of course, discipline and access to capital. And that is where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your own account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing their strategy and managing risk. No more fear of blowing up your personal accounts. No more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own savings. This is what we call, of course, limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, please visit tradethepool.com or scan that QR code and make sure to grab that 10% off by telling them you're from Trader TV Live, baby. And if you have this Netflix trade, you may have graduated your account today, because there goes Netflix right now, about to be $1 from our reload position. But we did not reload. Here, I'm just going to punch out right there. I'm not going to even wait for 15s. We'll just take some 11s right there. And now we'll put an offer up near the high of the day of 103.30s. And we'll see if we can get out that, and then we'll let the rest run. But there goes Netflix. Just kind of stick with your guns, right? Have some kind of confidence in the trades. Just like Anil said there, the number one trade, I guess, for him on Friday was Nike, went right back to the well today. And I think that's part of what you want to do. If you're reading something properly, you want to get right back into it. And there it goes there for Netflix. We did not give up on this name when we bought it at 102.50. It did make a move higher. We did layer into the downside play, and now we're taking it out as we get into the 200. And I have no idea how high this one shall fly. So we'll wait. I'm going to bid again here on, we just missed it. I mean, I can just tell you where it is. 67.30 is where I'm waiting for the reload here on SLV. We don't get that, and then we notice that we did fall right back into a level here, so let's offer some out, punch some out there at 07 as we get it right back in. So we do get stopped out right there on silver. We do get back in on some of that news, and it's Strait of Hormuz time right now, right? I mean, it's 10 o'clock, so a quick little check-in on what's happening with USO. Nothing. So there's the move down as the market sort of, creates opportunity and goes green. Oil comes back in as well. So right now, we'll hear. We got Adara here. If there's anything happening, we'll bring that to you ASAP as far as press releases or some kind of statements here from
it's a bit long-winded.
Either the president or whatever. Does it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just keep getting it to you guys if and when there's some news on it.
I'll give it a bit. Again, we'll keep those headlines to you, but that one's way too long to read it on Intel. Try to give it that whole long-term look here. We have an inside range above the prior high, and that'll be last week's Friday's top here at about 63.5. It's in the consolidated range, looking for the push all the way back into the top if it can go. Still going to be in that, well, obviously, I shouldn't say still going to be. We reloaded back into Nike when it was a topping tail. It didn't go green. So as long as this is holding in the bottom end of the range, I think it can be good to go. It was Circle that was the only thing that, well, it's now on the radar that wasn't on the radar. But that is not breaking the trend. As you can very plainly see, that just broke another fresh high of the day. So got to be patient with it. I was looking at that 95 for a trend break, but it did not even get close to breaking this trend. I'll maybe press into 96 or 97. Just a little bit further. And if it tries to fill in that gap a little bit more, the good thing about waiting for a trend to break is you don't necessarily have to get run over by this moving freight train. And it's not like it was doing this before we got the bounce in the market. So I don't want to get it twisted or anything. Like, the market wasn't even doing a thing when Circle got going. That being said, if that doesn't happen, we almost got to prior low there on iBit, that 40.80 level. That's where I'm looking for a bit of a fade on Bitcoin. Somehow, I don't know why Circle pretty strong, but Bitcoin's still 71.5 and not really breaking out. So that'll also be a trend break trade for me. Just let it try to mosey on a little bit higher into 40.80 before we take that bit of a curl. Jay Lee saying Palantir sitting on a P of 208 while Uber is 14. Well,
Yep, exactly.
yeah, I mean, not all. The thing is, different sectors, different growth patterns, different types of stocks. You usually want to compare PEs with like stocks that are at least in the same sector or the same level of maturity. I don't think that's one where it matters too much. The only reason that matters for me in Uber is like I like it for the story. Like I never was an Uber buyer because of the PE in the first place. But if you like the story and it's cheap, that's even better.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking back at that, and I was going to call it up, and I put this on here. What's up to MF Dane Generous as well? Thanks for pointing that out, as Neil just talked about this. But I was going to bring up the fact that in the pre-market, we did talk about 129 bids for Palantir, and didn't want to catch that on the way down in. We should have took that trade. I mean, it's working way better than Netflix is. I mean, Netflix is still.
Yo, Sean, I think you're signed in as me.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
No, he's not.
Oh, on that computer? Oh, okay, yeah, maybe on that one. Yeah, okay. Yes, okay, so now you're going to get some refills on that coffee here, my guy. But yeah, right here for Netflix, for Palantir, up to 132.50. So we'll definitely make sure to get a little bit out there. 132.50. This is what happens when nobody knows logins, when it's not your day off and everyone's logging in as you. There's shout out to Joe. Obi, no one had a login, and apparently it's written on right here on this thing, but I don't know. Anyways, there goes Palantir upside. Netflix, we're still waiting for that one. Silver, I don't know. We covered some more down there at VWAP. I mean, this was a decent look, and it's been bouncing off of 67.25 and change. So we'll have to have a look again right there on silver to see if that winds up holding. And unfortunately, man, we've been talking about Netflix and how good its trade Palantir's been. Netflix cannot go. It cannot break through anywhere near its pre-market highs. We haven't even come close to that. Right off the open we got there, but we didn't do anything since, and we've just been bouncing off of the 200 period moving average. So that's why we've been emptying out the clip a little bit here on NFLX. I guess it won't be that huge trade that we're hoping for, but Netflix could be it, but definitely got some out there on the top. If we break back down through VWAP, that would still be a 40-cent winner. We could take some out there. So why don't we just do that again right now? Take out a little bit more of Netflix here. I'll offer some 95s. Hopefully we're able to get that, and then we'll just move away from it, as Marvell could be the next long that I'm looking at, because it's pulled back a little bit now as well, back into that 129 area, looking at Friday's.
It's not alone.
Closing mark. Yeah, no, a lot of things pulling back.
AMD pulled back. It's got lower highs underneath VWAP, unfortunately. I don't want to be pessimistic, but like on the other side of the coin, NVIDIA, I got a bad wick on NVIDIA. NVIDIA is relatively strong. It's not green yet, but it's still holding on to some higher lows. So good look for them. Still looking at this.
Oh shit, it's something out of everything.
Circle. Circle's so close. So it's making another couple of topping tails. You have this. Again, first dip, second dip in here. It's trying to break down from like that 90 bounce. But this could be the first salvo for myself, at least to take a shot on the circle reversion, not regression. Let's go to Adara for some news. It's already 10:10, and circle up 7.5%. But if this candle closes underneath 94.6 or 94.7, I'm looking short.
Be careful with this one, guys. I don't have a lot of details, not too much of a move either, but LULU and watch. I'm seeing that Daily Wire is reporting that the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is going to be launching a formal investigation into Lululemon. I guess there's some concerns here that they might be misleading.
Yep.
All right, Dara's mic is not working, so there we go. We want to thank. I was just saying to Joe, it's a very risky business leaving yourself logged in over here, but we've logged him out, and I logged out of everything, so I got to log back in myself. So there it goes. We will get Dara's mic fixed, and we'll get right back over to that ASAP. Seeing some Amazon movement here as well, as they're pulling back just a little bit off of some of these levels. It's nice to see the NASDAQ back to 25.3 at least. So that was been pretty good. Here comes the NASDAQ. Amazon down 0.5% today. I really like Amazon. I mean, they've shown its true colors. It wants to go back there to the upside. So potentially Amazon still trying to work that out. And I think Amazon goes long from here and even breaks through their highs. Dara's mic is now fixed.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Again, just for this headline with Lululemon, not a ton of details, so be careful. But I am seeing a report suggesting that the Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton, is going to be launching an investigation into Lululemon over some concerns that they're might actually be misleading customers over the safety of their products. Again, pretty vague, not too much of a move. If I get more details, I'll let you know. Also, with regards to this blockade, because I'm seeing, of course, the people in our chat wondering, what is the situation with the blockade? Is it happening? Is it not? The 10 a.m. deadline wasn't for Trump to make any comments. It was just supposed to be the start time of the blockade. So as far as we know, it's 10 a.m. The blockade has begun. If I get any details suggesting that's not the case, I'll keep you posted. Back to you.
Lululemon safety issues?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
I don't know. I mean, do they have, what kind of products do they have over there?
I find myself a little bit confused by that, but you know what?
What's the stock doing?
I don't mind pleading ignorance because it doesn't really matter at the end.
Did Randy get back over
Safety
here?
issues, my butt. It could be like what it's made with, I suppose. It doesn't really matter, but we're starting to give up the bid. We're losing the bid there on Intel. That just dropped in. The other shorts are going to end up working, but at the chagrin of the long that we were just in Intel, we just took that core weave. I can stay on the 15-minute, goes into this prior close, not really into the 97, and then pulling back, but have a look at 92. So 92-ish, going back to Thursday, was a big level. That'll also be just in front of the volume-weighted average price. That'll be the target. Nike's at the same price. And you want to pay attention to oil futures. You would think, if we're pulling back off the highs, that this might be screaming higher. Not the case. USO is still hanging out underneath 131. Obviously, when we had the Iran willing to talk, it made a fresh low at 129, but it's still looking relatively weak over here. So you'd think we'd catch a little bit of pep in our step over there in the market, but it's still pretty early. I think some of the weakness in the chip names that just came in, we saw Marvell, AMD, Intel pull back as well, but the new one for me was a reversion in Circle. I turned my head. I thought Randy. I heard
Joe.
Randy. I thought we're getting our coffee reload there. What's going on now?
Here comes Randy right now. Yeah, we had
Wow, what's up?
Joe left all of his stuff logged in over here. So on my chat, the company chat, I was logged in as Joe. So Randy came to ask, he's like, Joe wants a refill? But you know what? That would have been funny because he could have got him a cup of
Joe. Unintended.
Yeah, I'm gone soon, guys. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, so yeah, I would love a cup of Joe, Randy. How's everything going out there? Thumbs up. We're supposed to get 21 degrees Celsius today. It is already it's already 13. Yeah, it's going to be the next couple of days very, very sunny. Of course, as I leave for vacation, it's starting to get really nice. 20, 21, so that's like 70 degrees here in Toronto.
We have evaluations today at baseball.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
But that's indoors.
Right. We had that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun. So
it's fun. The weather's nice out there. Like if it's 20 degrees, you just love to be outside, but you can't be. Ground's all wet.
The only safety issues, apparently, I saw someone in the chat. The only safety issues Lululemon has is, causing car accidents. People not focusing on the roads.
That's not a bad place
there. So possibly they're looking into that one. Okay, but all right. So
I would never get distracted by it.
No. You never, not when you're driving, that is for sure. All right, take another piece out there on Netflix. I don't know, 30 cents. We'll take another piece out. I still want to go long there on NFLX. Let's check out the big dog, man. It's 10:14. We haven't even mentioned NVIDIA yet. So NVIDIA, we did look at some AMD. See, this is how you know I didn't mention it, because I have such a stupid wick here. Yeah, working out, right? I mean, nice move there right off the open, bounces off VWAP pretty cleanly at 186, up to 188. Man, everything's like really motoring, and I'm just on this Netflix, what I thought could moon, and it's not. So we'll have to wait for that. But yeah, 188 top, looks pretty good, holding the 25 period moving average. I'm gonna get rid of this wick. It's not a big volume candle, so it shouldn't be affecting VWAP or anything here. But right into there, 187.70 or so. Good level for NVIDIA. Looks like it wants to hold that 25 period moving average and maybe start to extend through. Look at the NASDAQ, what it's doing right now. So this is what NVIDIA is doing. So this does not match. So it looks like NVIDIA is going to be a stronger name here, despite it being, weaker than the NASDAQ as a percentage-wise. But for right now, man, these chip names are holding the bid, which is amazing. It should be heading south on that move. You can see right here, AMD kind of following the NASDAQ's direction there and heading lower, but it's NVIDIA bucking the trend. What is Apple something similar? No, darn it. Another bad wick somewhere on Apple. All right, I'm going to have to clean these all up, man. We don't have great luck here today with some of these charts. But yeah, let's do one more and then I'll go back to Neil because I got to fix this. But there's Google. Okay, so Google's trying to follow trend as well. This is the biggest and best name for me, man. I just want to buy more Google, and unfortunately, bag was pretty full down here and didn't pull the trigger. But looking at that 280, if we ever somehow get an opportunity to do that, we'll be all over Netflix in and around that area. So yeah, silver doing not much, and Netflix is the only 2 trades for myself, and then trying to pick up some NVIDIA if we get a dip buy, because hey man, it's just reacting differently than the market. So down into view up 187, like some NVIDIA down there.
Yeah, and speaking of things that are losing the bid as well, Tesla, which we haven't really talked too much about, they had the full self-drive, I guess, positive headline out there in the Netherlands. Was breaking through that 350, now pulling back into that prior high. So maybe you get a bit of a bounce there. Not really sure if it's the way the market's going. I'm not sure it's going to. So there's a buyer in here at 93.5 on circles. So I have a bit of a tight stop. This is a very against the grain move, obviously, on a trend break. But I'd like it to try to press in 92. But if it gets above 94, it's more a look for a reload up here $1 higher than it is hold it that $1 against you. So we'll take what we can get, look for that next push down. Nike's still doing the absolute same thing, and don't look now, but USO is catching a bit of a bid.
Is it? Okay, that's why the market's coming back.
Yeah, but it's another higher low. So here's what I'm looking at for USO. Bottom, higher low, higher low. Still probably going to be thinking about a trend break on this. If I wasn't bearish on, well, the first move was down. So realistically, I'm probably still going to look for a trend break to the downside. But it's holding on to the trend line up here for sure. I can't really ignore that fact. Like, circles pressed through. So now we can look for that 92. It's not VWAP that I care about. It was 92 on the 15-minute chart. So I'll be looking closer at the 92 level here for the circle out. And Jack is asking what to do on SanDisk at 900. First of all, I'm not trading SanDisk today, and it already went to 900 twice. It was a double top. So, I mean, congratulations if you shorted it, but probably more importantly, congratulations if you've just been long this stock. Up 5%, another all-time high here today. We keep thinking that this is going to slow down, and maybe it doesn't. Maybe it waits until 2 weeks from now. They report, I don't know, 2 weeks Thursday, I think. And there's going to be pretty high expectations. We already saw Micron have a blowout report last quarter and actually pull back off that. I wouldn't be surprised if SanDisk did that too. But you're asking what to do at 900. It already double topped there. So.
If you're looking for winning trades, we did put one on there for NVIDIA. So we're going to go 3 for 3 here so far today. There's NVIDIA right there. I just said we're going to buy it, man. It was going opposite of the market. So we put some, put our money where our mouth is and bought a little bit. On NVIDIA as we take some out there at the 25 period moving average, just ahead of 188. We're long right now at 70s, so that was about a 20-cent rip to the north side there. We take a little bit of advantage of that, and I'm just waiting for 187 to drop through. So if this breaks through 187.50, I'm off of this name. This is just a quick little rally. We'll dip by again if we can get it back into this area, more into the 60s. But I'm going to try this right now, man. It's a new position alert. It is NVIDIA. And again, there it goes again. So we'll just go bang. As you know, the winners are coming in right now for us here with NVDA. Neil on Nike and Circle short. I've got the longs, he's got the short, and Adara's got the news at the desk.
I like that transition there, Sean. Let's get it started here with VRAX. This is Virax Biolab, is a name we've talked about in the past. This is not its first time rallying. It is a penny stock right now, around 18 cents. Market cap here of just over $1 million, 1.18 million. Float of around 7 million shares. So small float, small market cap. That trend's going to continue with RMSG. Real Messenger Corp could not find any news on this as of this morning, but it was in our Trader TV Live watch list. Just over $1 million market cap, just over 1 million share float. Short float here of around 47%. So big short float and small float for RMSG. And last but not least, RCT, the only one of the small cap names mentioned today that actually has a catalyst. They announced that they're signing a $30 million licensing deal over a 5-year period to deploy its RAID engine within Saudi Arabia. You've got a $50 million market cap and 44 million share float here. So larger market cap and larger float for RCT compared to its peers in the small cap recap segment today. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. We're going to send you back over here to Sean and Neil.
Because I wouldn't have remembered if you didn't grab it.
Yeah, just coffee going on there. I mean, NVIDIA now 40 cents, Netflix 12 cents.
So I'll trail out there. We'll end up grabbing about 60 pennies on that one. Was looking for the next salvo to get down to 92 on Circle. But once it held that buy at 93.5, that's a bit of a trend break back into the upside. So we'll respect it, jump out, look for the next opportunity. Whether or not that's going to be what we're seeing in USO, still, I mean, slightly catching a bid. A couple of higher lows in here. It's kind of rejecting 131. It's not a long-term trend, but it's a bounce from the news-based bottom. So if it were to hold on, wait for VWAP, if it breaks, then it'd be about right now it would be about 130.50. That'll be a moving target as it gets higher. Ideally, it'd be even better if it just held the trend into VWAP and then broke trend there, because then I would like it for multiple reasons. We're gonna go back to Adara, again, still in Nike. I'm gonna leave this up because we're really close to the trend break, but Nike topping tail at prior day close, looking for VWAP next to the downside on that trade. Let's go back to the desk for Adara.
It's interesting, guys. I'm seeing a lot of commentary now coming through about the possible blockade now that we are, again, 20 minutes into the blockade. So 10 a.m. is when this was supposed to start. So theoretically, this blockade has begun. As such, we're seeing a lot of different analyst comments. I'm seeing one comment here suggesting that because Iran apparently has a large offshore crude stockpile, both Iran and China could be fine for a while here with this blockade. They could stand weeks or months of disruptions at the Strait of Hormuz. So this basically implies that unfortunately, this blockade could go on for a little bit longer than people might necessarily expect or want. Back to you.
Yeah, nobody wants this for very long, but it's nice to see that there's over there covering that for us. We have it all live. You're now in the right space. Whether or not you're looking for oil trades, silver trades, we got a couple different names moving on. Make sure you do hit that like and that subscribe. There's NVIDIA. We just took it out near the highs, well, basically at the highs of the day, 188.20s. I mean, the very high is 30, whatever this price is, 35 or so. So we'll see if we can get back up into the good old levels there. And I just took another, excuse me. Just took another piece out on our good friend SLV once again here at VWAP. This is the only red mark that we have all, okay, here we go. It's the only red mark that we have all day on SLV, but here it comes, wow. Here it comes right back in. The market is really starting to pump now to the downside. A little bit of a downside kick there on NVIDIA. Does not change my opinion at all, but a nice little downside move there. It does. Trump posting on Truth Social, Iran's navy is at the bottom of the sea, completely obliterated. There goes. Okay, nope. Okay, Adara has it. We'll go over there in a second. But we've already, so we'll get out a little bit more here on NVIDIA if it does pop back up. But it's all good, man. We're just really running this so far here today. Silver, good move down, man. We take advantage of that. Get some 97s on the way back in right there. I was bidding 83s. It goes to 85. That's okay. Hopefully we do get a move down, but so far so good here. 40 cents on NVIDIA with some good shares, and Netflix as well, trying to work itself out. So we're 3 for 3 here today, and doing well, but just waiting to see what's going to happen. And looking at oil, but I haven't really traded it there. It's kind of been stuck here since 10 o'clock. We'll wait to see now bouncing off of the 50-period moving average there. So kind of tough to use moving averages right now when we have all these headline risk, but we're doing good looking at other names. As we said, silver downside, 15 cents there, 50 cents in it. NVIDIA is one that I'm most proud of Netflix because it was on the note, but at least on NVIDIA, we called about this. We looked at it. We matched it against the futures and realized this was the one. So we took NVIDIA, and there it goes, man, climbing up the board today, NVDA.
And we'll go back to Adara at the desk.
I like that transition there. I've talked about this Trump Truth Social post, and the reason why is, I mean, a lot of it's what we usually see. He's saying that Iran's navy has been obliterated, but there is one statement here that actually does mark a bit of a change, or I guess a bit of a direct threat, if you will. Warning, if any of these ships comes anywhere close to our all caps blockade, they will be immediately all caps eliminated. So he's basically saying if these Iranian ships near our our blockade, we're going to get rid of them. So again, already here, we're like 25 minutes into the blockade. There's already a threat related to said blockade. Back to you.
Well, thank you, Adara. And that's just
bye-bye.
That break-in trend in oil futures obviously didn't happen as we got a bit of a bounce on that. But we did get to VWAP on Nike. At this point, if it gets to low of the day, great. Getting to VWAP got me flat on it. We did stop up twice on it here underneath volume-weighted average price. Then a wick out at the high, but then we jumped back in after that topping tail candle. Instead, giving it to the prior close, which was the original plan. But a bounce off VWAP, and this is maintaining an upward trend. And if that ends up the case, then I'm not going to reload it a third time. That trend break on USO has not happened. If anything, we're just simply bouncing. and looking relatively strong here. I still, whoops, of course, when it puts in a new bar, that just moves the chart on me. I still believe overall this is kind of downward sloping. So for now, until we get to VWAP, I'm still going to take this trend break as next, and I want to double check Circle. That was obviously a rocket ship. No questions asked about it. Probably one of the strongest things we were looking at. Right decision to get out. If it can go like head and shoulders, something distinct for a lower high here, there might be a reload and then a chance to get all the way to the volume weighted average price. But for now, seems like Circle maintaining that ridiculous move upside. 7.5%. Also a bounce off to 50, so it actually looks pretty good here on that 50 period on the daily. Doesn't really matter too much. That's more if you're into a swing. So USO is still the next thing I'm looking for, and it's as simple as waiting for this trend to break down. If it doesn't, I don't go short until we get to VWAP.
Here we go. Let's send this out, and then we'll do something like this. Because, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know who's buying this name up, but there goes Palantir. Sorry, we're still on NVIDIA, by the way. Smoke City right there for NVDA. Man, it's going to hurt taking a vacation. We got to take a vacation. Yeah, Palantir, man. Is Kathy buying? Yes, she is, it seems like right now. We heard that on the weekend. We just got the story today. It was on our watch list. That Palantir about $11 million worth, which is not huge, but nice buy there on Friday. And that doesn't, you know, following Kathy Wood, generally speaking, you follow her to your grave. But at the end of the day, it has been a nice move back there for PLTR.
Worth, that's
I think that's, isn't that what
shares?
Wasn't that on our watch list? Doesn't seem like.
Yeah, he bought just over $11 million worth across, I think, like all of their ETFs, or at least 3 or 4 of their ETFs. They also, it was 85,000 shares across these ETFs.
Okay, so 85,000 shares. So not bad there, position for Kathy Wood, adding to the position of PLTR. Okay, so another piece out there on NVIDIA. But yeah, it just keeps on going higher. I just wanted to look at this one more time. Watch out for that break, though. This is a perfect setup, man. A 200 period back into the 200, and then a bounce back off. So now we'll look to see if we can get a little higher here on Palantir into the 133 area. But yeah, keep on buying that one up, Miss Kathy Wood. I have stopped buying Marvell, and we've sold some upside here today as that's trying to battle back. These are the 2 biggest stocks right now, percentage-wise, that I can see. Here's on my watch list. Anyways, let's go over and have a quick look. There's going to be some ETFs, obviously, that are higher up today. Just generally, oh yeah, Oracle, what a move there. ORCL, should have added some more of that to the portfolio. USO, there we go, that's up. Affirm up 5%.
Affirm's, I was going to say Affirm's the biggest on my.
Yeah, Affirm's doing nicely. I don't own any Affirm shares.
It was the Klarna.
Roblox, yeah, Roblox nice too, up 4%. There's Palantir, Coinbase. Oh, we can look at iBit, see if that's getting a little more spicy. There's Marvell, PayPal. I talked about PayPal last week and why I kind of liked a little bit of PayPal there. I'm not a big fan of Robinhood, but if the market gets back up in the crypto space and Robinhood continues to work as well, that's up 2%. Microsoft off 1.7%. Let's go the other way right now. Silver, there's a reason why we're short, man. Right now, there's silver printing as well for us today. Silver, iBit, these are the 2 shorts that we have written down. Micron, as we talked about SanDisk, all the way up to the 52-week and all-time highs for SanDisk, not so much for Micron. My Apple chart's not working, but that's 257 right now, down 1.2% on Apple, which is a surprise considering where the market's been. And then JP Morgan, well, that's nice. At least it's back up to 308 right now. Let's have a quick look on Goldman Sachs now that I'm reminded by that. I'm not even following Goldman on my watch list, but all right, 3.5%. So yeah, not that busy. Neil and I both were wondering why that conference call was like 20 minutes, but down there to 865. Yeah, maybe not even. 865 makes that low, probably just as that call started around 9:45. There's the move higher. We've now, I mean, Adair, we can confirm that, right? That conference call is over, I believe. Goldman.
I mean, like for Goldman Sachs, I had a summary updates I gave to you guys at 9:45. I haven't heard anything since then, so I would assume it's over. It's hard. We get a start time for these. We don't get an end time, so.
If you have a 15-minute conference call,
maybe all is well.
Like I just feel like that's a mic drop.
That's all I know.
Yeah, so
that sounds like a mic drop to me, and it basically just bounced after the call.
Yeah,
I think I think you're all systems.
Probably all systems to go on that one.
Again, I'm not a Goldman Sachs. I own Morgan Stanley. It's a distinction. It doesn't really matter. They're all probably better than the traditional banks. I think the investment banks are the way to go if you happen to be watching them. But my goodness. Oh, there's something that happened, and there's a few viewers that were asking me about this. So GE Vernova did tag the 1,000 level and has pulled back off the high. So it did finally get there. Thought it might get there on Friday. Oh no, shoot. Oh, I lost my 15-minute chart. Doesn't really matter. I can show you the topping tail on a 3-minute chart. So topping tail, failing the $1,000 level. I'm gonna trim some. As long as we're holding underneath the K, I'm gonna trim some of my personal account. Like, you can't go up forever. When you can go up forever, but it just recently bounced off the 50 period at $800, and then you're already 20% there. Makes some sense to me. So a little bit of a topping tail. Didn't get there on Friday, got there today. Good looking stock, strong trend, love it, but you have to ring the register at some point. All right, USO, it's still same trend, close to VWAP. Let's see if it gets there. When we break that trend, I'm looking for the southbound play here in USO.
Okay. All right, we're at the highest spot we've been at all day, and just according to my blotter right now, obviously the market's not at the highs. That's because silver just made a nice move down. We just got a 90 fill there on SLV, so giddy up on that. We did take another couple outs there on Netflix as that kind of bumped up through 103 again, so we take some outs there. And then NVIDIA continues to extend higher. So yeah, it's 1032 right now. If there are any other sort of symbols, let us know, man. Oracle short, someone in the chat there. Let me know if there's any. I don't have the stock visualizer, so you guys can throw that up if you want to put that up there and I can reference it. There. Thank you, Andre, as well. So, all right, man, here we go. Palantir, I already sort of reviewed that a little bit. We can take a quick look at CoreWeave. Wow, that CoreWeave number up 9%. Wow. Oracle, Netflix. I mean, thanks for liking the Netflix, man. We'll fire off the hot dog cannon for Netflix today. That's been obviously a good trade there. But Oracle, wow, that's a move up 7%. As that, put that back up. I want to see what there are any low float names on here as well. So LWLG possibly. RSMG. Oh, this is one that we talked about earlier on. We did have this one on our watch list, Real Messenger, here today. So we can have a quick little look. Oh, good. They released a new P Pro 8 version there. So I can get those extensions back on our watch list. So on the Imbalance locator. So that's cool. Today, RSMG. Let me go read this right quick for you. Real Messenger trading sharply higher. The stock has a market cap. We have no news on this unless Adara has something. $2.3 million market cap right now with 1.9 million shares out. So that math is pretty easy. 50% short float. RSMG.
Yeah, market cap now 5.5 million, as you said. So they do expand, right? Good day for Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, great day for them on the market cap front of things. But yeah, breaking through a buck there, that was the trade. So breaking through a buck gets you that halt. Then, of course, what a surprise, opens up lower, retests that dollar, and then rocket ship. I say that sort of tongue-in-cheek because that break of a dollar generally will get a little bit of excitement into it. And
guess what they got last week?
Offering?
No, they got a non-compliance notice last week.
Oh, so okay, so then that's what's happening
they had
today.
To make their, yeah, so they got their.
Yeah, so they probably paid a little bit. They got some advertising out there. They get that bump right now through a dollar as someone is trying to help this name get a little bit higher. We don't need any help on NVIDIA because we're approaching. This one is what it's about, man. We brought this to you. We nailed it. We found this one. You guys are looking for some trades. There it is right there. It's Netflix and Netflix. It's NVIDIA right there. It's just amazing that I just get into NVIDIA at 10:20. So in 15 minutes, we're already up a buck, and I can't even get this. No, I'm not trying to do anything to get this to go, but Netflix can't even get going. I've been in this thing for an hour. So hopefully that will join the party at some point. Yeah, so far so good here on the day as, you know, we've got lots more trading to do, but the market has to sort of adapt to it. And right now with USO and the NASDAQ and the ES kind of just hovering around, zeros right now on the ES, pretty much zeros on the NASDAQ, and oil still up 6%. Hold on, CLK. Let me check the actual oil contract here. So 101, it was up to 104 in the pre-market. So still up 5+% here today. Oil does shoot up into 104.50 last night on Trump's talk. And now the blockade is in. And yeah, just doing what it wants to do here. 101 and change. Blockade can't be good news for oil.
They aren't usually.
No.
They aren't usually, but again, we'll see how far this ends up going. It's been 35 minutes in theory since it's been on. I just saw, and I don't get, someone asked a question in Circle, is it setting up? And I'm like, no, it's not. If it makes a fresh high and keeps blowing out, then I think a second short and it doesn't make sense. Sometimes you take the money and run. But another name that is up, that is setting up, and I actually saw Office Depot in the chat mentioning this. So 3 things: Affirm, 53, daily chart, obvious level. If you look at the trend, you're going into resistance here at 51 on that lower high, and then back into the 3-minute, first dip, second dip, and then here comes a third. So it's a very similar setup. It's just getting to a resistance spot, breaking trend, looking for VWAP. The confirmation would be in here. So I'm thinking this similar to Circle, but like why? Oh, give me a break. There we go. No, hit it again. Oh, great. This chart's going to freeze now. All right, I was going to show you the Circle.
Oh, there is a new release.
Yeah, this is
You
going
know, we got to download this new release.
Yeah,
Zyari.
How do you even pronounce it?
Zariri.
That's the actual name of the release.
That's what the new release is. Right there on
I'll
PA.
probably
So we
move
do have
that
new.
tomorrow.
We do have new software coming through. We take advantage of that again at 103. We get it out at 102.90 here. Just looking to see if there's any news headlines that we could talk about. All right, Jim Cramer was right about not buying Supermicro. SMCI, I thought Supermicro was having a nice move higher there, $25.
It was huge on Friday.
Yeah, so I guess maybe it's just referencing today. Yeah, don't get too excited about Supermicro. I wouldn't mind, getting above this 28, filling that gap. Not all gaps are meant to be filled. This one, though, up to $30, feels pretty good about it. I think I'd rather be in Dell if I like the space, just so I don't have to worry about sort of some of these corrupt executives involved here with SMCI, apparently. So we'll see if that can get back upside there, but SMCI trying to go. I really thought, as far as old tech is concerned, when we talk about Michael Dell and Dell there, I really love those Trump accounts and always mad respect for Dell for that. But IBM has really gotten kicked down the street here with some of this Claude stuff and Anthropic, and just worried about them dipping into some of their legacy businesses there with was it COBOL? Whatever some of the coding there is. And so anyways, coming back in is IBM. This to me looks like a great buy. Because
their legacy, one of their legacy businesses, that old software code that's in everything, and Claude can rewrite it so well. But it's, again, you have to find,
Netflix.
there's no chance that all of these names that are getting punked by Claude are going to zero. That's just not going to be the case. Right? So you have to pick and choose. And you also get the quantum computing aspect or from potential.
We had some negative days on the weekend, on Friday in cybersecurity, right? I mean, CrowdStrike went all the way back to 450. Now it's back underneath 400 again.
The volatility on CrowdStrike right now is
PanW,
insane. They're going 10% every 2 days, back and forth. Right. So the only new thing for me ends up being Affirm on a trend break. USO's not doing anything, so there it is. And then I was trying to pull up Circle. It is working now. So there was no reload short on Circle because it didn't put in that lower high. It ended up just sort of busting through. It's got another topping tail, but at this point, I probably would want to see something even weaker than that. Like the trend break trade, we tried it, didn't really follow through all the way to VWAP, so it wasn't that big of a move. Ultimately, could have been a little bit more than $1. Ended up taking 60, 70 cents on it. So firm trend break is going to be in. USO, you gotta hunt for oil prices, I think, to maybe give us the next indication. All right, let's go with the black chart because that's better. There you go, that one's absolutely fine. So we're still trending. This breaks down, I'm going short, so it's the same trend line from before. It's very close to doing so as we speak. It just hasn't really confirmed the trend break. And if that happens, I expect, if this breaks down under VWAP to the low, market should break out the highs, in my opinion. But now USO is finally breaking this trend.
I think, are we getting ready to go to a dare? Did I hear that?
It's 10:40.
Okay, then let's go.
Usually,
let's just go.
Sector watch.
Lots of obvious weakness in terms of sector-wide moves when it comes to this board today. Retail trade to the downside. You've got producer manufacturing mostly to the downside. Consumer non-durables, with the notable exception of Philip Morris, they're all going to be to the downside. Utilities weak. Communications, this sector continues to look really weak here. and non-energy minerals with Newmont down about 3%. So keep an eye on gold. In terms of some of these other sectors, we've got finance, couple pieces of strength here, but Goldman Sachs down 3% on its earnings report. This is the first Q1 2026 bank earnings report that we've gotten. We also have a little bit of a mixed look in consumer durables. Tesla trying to hold up the sector after we got this approval in the Netherlands for full self-drive, with the Netherlands also saying they want the rest of the EU to adopt FSD. Process industries relatively strong, commercial services relatively strong. Tech services, by far, of all of these sectors, seems like it has the most names that are to the upside, and it seems like a lot of SaaS rebounds. Apple up 5%, Oracle up 7.5%, ServiceNow up 5%. Looks like Synopsys up 3.5%, CRM up 3.5%. Then you've got electronic tech, which does have a little bit more weakness. Apple down here, but Intel maintaining its recent rally, and SanDisk up about 7%. That's going to join the NASDAQ 100 as of April 20th. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. We'll go back over to the guys.
That's a good story for SanDisk. I didn't realize they're joining the NASDAQ 100, so that's a good story there. Relatively new name to the market. Nice to see SanDisk upside. They spun off WDC. Of course, to the upside there, Western Digital. Yeah, so Netflix goes up to NVIDIA goes to 188.60s. So we're long at 187.70. So we'll ring the register up there, getting lighter and lighter as this day continues to go on. Yeah, man, thank you again for all the nice talks up there, man. There it is from T-Money. Sorry, who was this T-Money that I just put up there? There it is, T-Money, yes, sir. You're smashing it today, so that's good there as well. We did some up to Dane Generous as well, smashing it. So we want to say congratulations to all of you guys. And yeah, man, it's good to be back and giving you guys, some good talk here with Neil and some good levels to work off of as well, including, some of what we've been doing here with silver, NVIDIA, and Netflix right now. So pretty good. Netflix, another out there at 103. We're getting closer and closer to figure out what's for lunch. How was the Canadian fried chicken on Friday?
So there were some complaints about it being not cooked properly.
Okay.
If you ate the drumsticks, they were absolutely fine.
Okay.
Thighs, like right in the middle, was.
Oh no. Okay.
I mean, it wasn't that bad. People made it out to be. It was absolutely delicious, though.
People made it out bad, or it just depends on what pieces you got.
Yeah, I think it really did.
Okay.
Mine were probably better than I think some others.
Okay.
And I even showed it to like.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, because
he was like, most of them were okay.
Okay, good.
But I thought it was delicious, but it wasn't very much a Canadian dish. Let's be real. Like fried chicken isn't uniquely Canadian.
No.
Mashed potatoes was okay. The gravy was.
Okay. We'll figure out what's going on there today. What's up, Adam DeLuz, man? Great to see you in the chat. I hope you're following.
Not deep fried.
As long as well. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it was deep fried long enough there. But yeah, there's NVIDIA as we continue to go higher. I was looking at Boeing just now. That is going 218. Nice move higher for BA here today. Sort of bucking the trend a little bit of the market, being at the highs right now is Boeing. So we'll see up with the market as well, but not near the highs. We'll see if Boeing wants to break through. You're near that 200 period moving average on your 5-minute chart and just underneath the 50 now. So I really, this is another name that I dip bought, but it wasn't until back into here. This is November. We bought some Boeing at 200. It did go against us twice, but right now back up and to the right is Boeing. And then the big one, I guess, Uber. Bouncing off 70. A talk that we had today, liked Uber and still do like Uber, but needed to get going just a little bit higher than where we are now before we start to really, congratulate anybody that's been long, as it's hovering right near the lows still, Uber on the daily chart. That one can't get going. There it is, man, it's official. First dollar club, I mean, we did have $1 on Netflix, but that came right back in real quick, so we don't need to worry about that one. I think you might have had a good one there on Circle. There's Tesla right now, 352. So this gave you multiple opportunities to grab dollars. And right off the open, we said if you broke that 350, there was a chance to get to 356. Well, it broke 350, but it got as high as 50 cents. And then it came right back in. Base. That is exactly the break you're looking for there on Netflix. I know I'm trying to be that trader, but didn't have this one and should have. So Netflix right there, we'll just, keep that in our mind. I love when we base out, good support there on VWAP, and then there's the break higher on NFLX. Look, man, we've got our daily goal. We're now $2 in the money, including with $1.50 now. Wow, NVIDIA is really pushing through right there, man. I mean, we don't do trade of the day, but this one would be it for me, as there goes NVIDIA right through 189. Sure, we like our Netflix trade. That needs a little bit of work to get going still, but there goes NVIDIA, $1.33 in about 30 minutes right there, pushing it right up the board, goes NVDA. And finally, Netflix is thinking about breaking 103, but we'll just sit on this and not worry too much about it. It's been a great morning. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. You're about to have Sharif and Joe on the midday, so your life is about to get a hell of a lot better as well. So we're excited for that. Adara will still be here, and hopefully see you coming through. Brendan on a day off today.
That's right. Yeah, Brendan with the day off, but seamless transition. So I'll quick. This chart's going to be annoying. So if you watch, my USO normal chart is going to show VWAP all the way up here. But if we show you the black chart, which is not missing data, it broke trend. So I am in that short and then giving it to the prior bar high. So just kind of the standard area play. If it breaks out, I'm always out if it breaks that prior bar high. Mean reversions are my fave. It's the one thing that you can't set up. Like, I'll never have these on my note because you don't know if something is going to give you a trend break. Like, I can't know what Circle is going to do in the middle of the day. I can't know when Intel was going to do it last week. But when it does happen, like, you take your shot at it. Circle hasn't put in that lower high I was looking for, so there's still an opportunity for that to be a short, but it's not really looking like it. And then the other new trade was, of course, Affirm on a trend break as well. And this is just sort of sitting in here, hasn't really broken out that top. So this one's holding trend. So that'll be, to be determined. Circle half worked, in my opinion. I thought it had $3 of upside. It gave you about $1 and change. And then USO, first salvo on a trend break. Maybe this will be work this time. Nah, it doesn't still. So like it's breaking the volume weighted average price. It's a relatively tight stop, but again, that's the prior bar on the trend break. That's not VWAP. VWAP is gone on USO, which I do think means some market strength. And then Nike still holding on to the same little bit. And for this one, I got to show the black chart as well. Nike did that topping tail, was in it early for like the underneath, basically flat bottom break. That stopped, got taken out here in a topping tail wick, jumped back into the trade, and now we're looking to get the low of the day on Nike. This one feels like it can be reloaded because it's putting in lower highs. But with the market strong, it might take a little bit longer to be able to get in to that low of the day. But I suspect that one's going to maintain that short pattern. So USO, again, that's not going to be VWAP. That's kind of an irrelevant price. And Affirm, I didn't see a story as to why they were up in the first place, which is another reason why I like a mean reversion. Typically, like there was some small capper in the afternoon on Friday. We couldn't even find a significant story on it. It was like kind of an easy reverse. It's also into a resistance level up here on the daily chart as well for Affirm. So 5% for them. I guess that's going to be good, but the chart's really not all that great. Just looking for that VWAP or trace on it. Oh, and by the way, iBit did get into the target zone, but it's a little strong going in there. Oops, that's I. There we go. iBit did get into the target zone, filling in the gap, but it's still in an upward trend. Like nothing about this is yet looking weak, but it's at that point now where I would also look for it to break what would be all-day trend line somewhere around the 40.70-ish level. It's time for some money talks with Adara. Let's see how that US dollar is doing amidst the blockade.
For what it's worth, Neil, I never saw a story for Affirm either, and I did look into it, so it doesn't look like there's a catalyst in this. I was seeing people mention PayPal as well. We know Circle is strong, so it could be an overall fintech, crypto type of move here. Again, if I see anything suggesting otherwise, I'll keep you posted. Let's talk about the US dollar, which is continuing to trade in this very fascinating tight range over the last 4 days. So Wednesday here, daily high of 99.2. You've got the Wednesday daily low of that 98.5s, and Thursday, Friday, and now Monday, again, 3 days following that range being formed, we've been trading within that exact same pattern. So again, we get the gap down on the original ceasefire news, and we haven't really been able to break out of that range ever since. As of right now, nothing doing here for the US dollar. We had those existing home sales that did come out today, lower than expected. Of course, as such, the decline here month over month in existing home sales was also a bit larger than expected. Tomorrow we get PPI, so we're going to get more significant economic data tomorrow, but today not too much for the US dollar to react to, and I think unless we get a massive oil headline. Let's talk about the CME Fed Watch tool, see how rates are doing. 99.5% of participants, so basically 100% of participants saying we're not going to get a cut in April, but let's look to see when we could potentially get a cut. So according to this probabilities feature on the Fed rate tool, we're not seeing a potential cut until October of 2027. Now, last week, at the start of the week, December 27 was the first cut. Then later in the week, we got September 27. Right now, it looks like October 27. So no matter how you slice it, as of right now, we're not likely to get a rate cut until the back half of 2027. So we've got well over a year, guys. Back to you.
Yeah.
You're playing the rate cut game.
No, it's not going to be your year.
Here today. So, all right, let's go back over and to figure out now. We're about that time. We just talked a little bit about what was for lunch. So let's go figure it out right now. Today is April the 13th. So today for breakfast was, we had some sausage, you just saw that, some scrambled eggs. Their turkey sausage, of course, with some fruit salad. Today's flag, though, for many of you in the United States would really like that. It is the American flag. We did have the Canadian flag yesterday, but today is the American flag. So we're going to go over and have a quick little look today. And we haven't had this ever. Okay, so this should be a real good one. This one is your typical down south, great opportunity here for ribs on a Monday. Today's lunch is ribs, barbecue pork ribs. Can we say that again? Ribs today. Might be a little heavy for lunch, but okay. Today we have macaroni and cheese.
Lunch.
We got ribs with mac and cheese, seasoned vegetables, and a salad that says orange salad. All right, so we got ribs, we got macaroni and cheese, we got veggies, and we got a salad of the orange variety. So I don't know what that is. As I hear in the background, potentially Trump salad. That could be true. The orange man, of course, coming through.
Let's focus on
not
ribs
at
and mac and cheese.
For that comment there. When I hear random things in the wind there, and I want to thank my man for that one. That was a good one there. So ribs.
I mean, it's got to be carrot salad or of some kind.
I don't know. I mean, it could be salad with little pieces of clementine on the side or something. I don't know. We're
getting ribs, man. What are you?
We've never seen this before.
Ribs from the caterer. We're gonna take that all day, every day.
Yep.
Although if you're doing barbecue, this is just a small nitpick. If you're doing barbecue and you put an American flag, then a biscuit and some slaw would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, that'd be all good. That'd be all good.
Salad or orange salad.
But hey, man, I mean, we'll take some ribs there today. Just quickly here, and then we'll go back because we're almost done. We'll run the board this morning, and hopefully you guys have had a great morning. You're about to be very, very entertained by our midday show with Sharif and Joe. So we're excited to throw over there. But there goes NVIDIA now $1.50 plus in the money on this absolute monster of a stock here today, NVDA. Just upside, nothing but upside. And when you see this, all we do is just take advantage, definitely, not the greatest, looking chart as far as where we're bouncing off VWAP or anything like that. This was just a pullback. We tried to believe in it. We were going to use VWAP potentially as our out if we did fall into it. We didn't. We only got 3/4 of a unit. It was not a huge trade for us, but the fact that we've been able to hold it all the way to the upside speaks volumes about the strategy. So there's the dip down. We get one dip down opportunity there for NVIDIA. We do take advantage of it. Let it ride this 200 period moving average there on the 5-minute chart. Give us a little bit more oomph to that, and then there it goes, man. And since we've taken this trade, I mean, this is a 5-minute chart. Nothing but upside there on that name. And we did get a little nervous. We're going to end the day, which is really, happy to do this because I know there's some traders out there that are probably also long Netflix or NVIDIA or some of these, but we did get some more out here. We're a little nervous as this was dropping for no reason. It has made a move back upside right now. So unfortunately, I only have a quarter left on NFLX, and if it continues to rip, great, but we're getting lighter and lighter on this name. My next out is still 103.30s, looking to see if we get that exact top again, but we'll end the day about 20% higher than our daily goal, so that we so far so good there. And yeah, man, Netflix holding fort, as is Amazon. I'm going to leave you guys about 250 now in the money. Silver also printing lows. So we've done great, man. Today we marked down the Netflix long, we got NVIDIA, and we got silver, all at the prices that we wanted to. Mind you, one shutdown right there, man. Ain't no one making 5K around here, but that was a great day.
I think that was the old super chat.
Yeah, that was
This is the new one, but that's a great day, of course. But that was the old one. It's son of Daniel Cheese Tycoon. We've got Nokia is looking more like Yes-Kia today.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
that was on our watch
list.
list.
Yeah, Nokia was on the watch list for the first time, I want to say ever, but if I'm honest, I actually don't remember. So my guess is we've never even put it on the watch list. And then we were noting it's got a great looking chart. Like you have to respect the fact that this has been going ham. I believe it was NVIDIA that had some kind of at some point, with a small stake in Nokia. But yeah, looking pretty good. It broke the $10 level, up 8%. So go figure. I don't think this is one that most people pay too much attention to. But when you have an upward trend like this, sideways consolidation, people complain about it, it's not bad. When you're consolidating higher, good thing. Consolidating higher, opportunity to jump into the trade oftentimes. So yeah, congratulations if you happen to be looking at Nokia, if you happen to be in it. Palantir continues to rally. It's closing in on 134 as the gap continues to fill. There wasn't a story on a firm. However, there was a Klarna story, like flexible payments live at Germany's biggest gaming retailer. So maybe a firm is up 5% on sympathy, I guess. That's possible. Seems pretty thin to me to be up 5 points, but it's at least something if you happen to be tracking that name. So I'm still sitting in that one as it's going, for now, sideways. Like the market continues to make highs. Like I look at the NASDAQ in the last 15 and it's pressing through the high and this is going sideways. In an upward trend, yes, but when you have a trend break, I want it to go right away. And it's just only going sideways. So it's not breaking into VWAP like we're expecting, but hasn't broken the high, so can't be too afraid of it. Circle was the right decision to get out. That continues to go higher, but it might give me another chance when it eventually tags 97. So 97 is the only level left on Circle, as that one's coming right back into this 97 level. As I said with a firm, if it's not going right away, maybe it's not going to go at all. Like if it's got, to me, 70, 80 pennies worth of downside on the move, I'm only going to risk about 20 to 25. Some people might say the stock has moved $4. Why would you have a 20-cent stop on it? Well, the answer is I'm not thinking it comes all the way back. I'm looking for a pullback into here. So if something moves 70 to 80 cents, to me, you're capturing about half of that if you're layering out. So I want it to be about that 2 to 1. So every one of those reversion trades, you have to get it out at a relative point at which, hey, if it wins 50-50, you're going to actually make money on it. So I'm going to be out of this one and waiting for Circle to come in next, because those are the plays that I like, those mean reversions, if we can get them. Circle up at 97. It's about 50 pennies away for it to get to that top, and then we'll look for the curl one more time. NASDAQ at highs. Also, by the way, Bitcoin just broke out the top.
Okay, good. Yeah,
that's not like Bitcoin. iBit's not going to be that curl just yet either. The all-day trend continues on iBit. So looking for that to give me that trend break if it can, but it's still pressing higher and higher. This is still a head and shoulders look for me. If you don't have the long off of the 40 level, then you're waiting for it to kind of push into this top and do some kind of revert there. But strong day, probably because things aren't falling apart as much as they could have. Iran's apparently willing to talk. That sent USO down for a little bit. Not too long, but for a little bit.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. Right here. Unfortunately, I can't find you on this screener thing that we have here, but there it is. Take a screenshot of this NVIDIA trade, frame it, and add it to the collection. Yeah, I mean, it was a good one. Thanks, Adam. We were really happy with the performance here on this one. Now $2 in the money quite cleanly, right up into, again, the Friday's high of 190, as we like that stock. We like that stock a lot there today, and hopefully we can get some kick-ups in Netflix as well. All right, only 20 seconds left. Thank you so much for watching here today. I'm going to take one more piece out, though, Adam, right now on NVDA, and then just get the heck out of here. And we'll hold about, like I said, we'll hold about maybe 10, 15% after I get out right now. We'll go to the gym. We'll be back on the midday show. Maybe talk a little bit about some trades there if we're into a position. You'll see me in the chat. Neil will have his lesson of the day. But it's 11 o'clock, so we want to thank everybody for watching today. All right, good job there today. Thanks, Adara. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Sharif, Andre, Ramin, and Fabian. There it is. It's midday time. We'll see you at 2 p.m. Go Ribs.